that we can hear and Mr. McCusker and he can hear us. So good evening. It's 7:07 p.m. This open meeting of the Grafton Zoning Board of Appeals is being conducted both remotely and in person, consistent with the temporary provisions of the open meeting law, which extends remote meeting protocols through March 31st, 2027. This meeting is convening via Zoom video conference and in person as posted on the meeting agenda, which can be found on the Town of Grafton website. Please see the meeting agenda for details on how to participate remotely. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. All participation within this meeting will be visible to others. Please be aware that if you share your screen, it may be recorded and broadcast later. This meeting may feature public comment. Anyone that's attending virtually, if you'd like to request acknowledgement to speak, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and the meeting administrator will enable you to speak when it's your turn. For those on the phone exclusively, the meeting administrator will enable you to speak. For those in person, we ask you to step up to the podium to speak, and all speakers, please state your name and address prior to your comments or questions. And all votes taken in this meeting will be done by a roll call vote. So with that, I guess I'll turn it over to the applicant.
We did, yeah, yep, I should know this by now, thanks for it's only been 30-something years. For the record, John Grenier.
On this project?
Yeah. I'm gonna retire on this one. Yeah, for the record, John Grenier, JM Grenier Associates.
Steve Benincasa.
So we did receive the draft. Our attorney, who will be here shortly, we went through a few items actually this afternoon on some of the items that were listed in the decision. Additionally, we did provide that option C for the profile for the roadway for Snow Road. I know that I confirmed with Jeff and I forwarded that along to him, I think the end of last week.
Yeah.
So he could review that obviously as well. The one item that I discussed briefly with Jeff is that when, again, what we looked at was reducing the slope for the two turning lanes that head south, to drop that slope by about 1%. I think instead of 10%, we're at 8.9%, which, as we discussed, that pulls the amount of cut and the amount of work further north along Snow Road. But in addition to that, for the existing, I'll call it the existing, although it's getting realigned, is that one single lane that comes from 122 heading north. When you drop the other two lanes down, that means you have to drop the northbound lane down too, so it can merge in, and that merges in further down, which creates additional, a drop in one area by about like 2 feet along that slope. So that requires additional work outside the right of way. I did have
Along the existing sidewalk, right?
from about where that existing concrete sidewalk is and then heading further north.
So it's a 2-foot drop where the existing sidewalk is.
On the Maxwell Street side of the property.
On the other side.
On the other side,
Not
Stop
on
and
the
Shop
Max-
side.
On the Stop and Shop side.
Oh, your side.
On our side. I did touch base with the owner of the Stop and Shop Plaza regarding the ability to get some easements from him.
Either for reconstructing a sidewalk or for adding additional walkway around the top of his property, which will go around the back of the two houses that are on
Right.
Snow Road. So it would give us direct access from our property to that sidewalk. It's physically possible to do that.
So how the conversation went was, he said he didn't really see, one, he didn't want the liability of having an easement. He didn't really see that it was going to be beneficial for really either of us, because I don't see, in his words, he said, I don't see people taking pull carts and going down to Stop and Shop and doing their shopping down there. You know, if they might walk down there and get a pack of gum at CVS, but nobody's gonna be walking down a long distance down there to do any type of substantial grocery shopping or whatever down there. So he didn't see the benefit. The negatives outweigh the positives.
And I, in anticipation of what he might say about liability, I checked with my insurance agent before I even talked to him, and he said that our insurance on our project would cover that. There's no liability to his side, but he really was, whether he wasn't acknowledging it or didn't believe it, he just said, yeah, well, that's not gonna work for me. And he didn't, like John said, he didn't see the benefit of that access to his plaza, that he said nobody's gonna carry groceries up that sidewalk and around. He said,
So,
he wasn't interested in.
so just to
working
give
with
you
us.
just to kind of give you an overview, so we provided all the information. I know Jeff can probably speak to what his analysis of it was, but I wanted to give you the overall picture of what our discussions were in trying to make sure that we could physically do it, because we would need some easements from him. And on top of that too, number 6 and number 8 Snow Road, where that retaining wall is, we would still, in front of their retaining wall, with the extension, the grade would drop by about a foot in front of those, which, again, their existing wall is within,
3 feet?
no, it's like within a foot. I think we have 3, and that's within 6 inches of the right of way. So that would drop the grade in front of that by a foot, which could, it's not going to be good for the stability of that. So I just wanted to throw that out. I'm sure. Do we want to discuss this now?
And another thing I just wanna say about that 8.9 versus 10% is not gonna be noticed in the field. If you're driving up that roadway there, and one road is 8.9 and one is 10%,
For a length of
you
maybe
would
100
know
feet.
for 100 feet, no one will have, if it's a quarter mile or half a mile, you'll notice it. But at 100 feet, no one would even notice it. I think the 8.9 sounds good, versus 10. It's got a good ring to it, but in practicality, we're gaining nothing on that. We're gaining nothing. So I would like to say that hopefully we can move on from that, for multiple reasons.
So, in front of the house where the retaining wall is, I thought we discussed shifting the roadway more towards the housing authority.
If we did that, we would still need to move all the poles, the existing sidewalk on that side, and move everything over, in addition to the grade dropping.
So right now, those poles are all in a line. We go move 2 of those poles, 3 of those poles. How's that gonna work with, they'd be adding guide wires on, I don't know how that would even work. I don't wanna really speak to it, but I don't really know how that would work.
And then, where do you stop? You shift it over, you're gonna have a kind of a slight
Right now,
S turn in the road. Everything's, right now it's a
pretty
straightaway.
straight.
It's a straightaway.
Very straight.
If you shift it over, say you shift it over 3 or 4 feet, say for a sidewalk, you shift it over, 4 to 5 feet. That road is a straightaway. You're gonna, where do you make it up? It just doesn't, from a practical point, I don't see it making sense. You made it.
So I thought we had a long conversation about this last time, and
It was,
about the feasibility of it, and it was,
it says, what would that do to the grades if we dropped that, what would it do to the grading along that corridor? That's what we said. If we drop it down from 10% to 8.9%, what does that do to the grading? How does that work with the grades and the off grading? Do we catch up? Does it work? And
well, I think we're mixing 2 different things, though. One is shifting the roadway, and I thought it was shifting it by a foot or something like that. Because
For a
there's already
sidewalk?
3 feet on that side.
Well, you need
On
4
the,
feet, curb, plus off-grade, you'd probably be close to 5.
just pull it up the notes.
Brian, is your question about how much they would have to shift the road to the west to accommodate the sidewalk on the
Yes.
west side? So I think Jeff can probably speak to that, because Jeff and I were out there in the field, and Jeff did some calculations.
Yeah, if the grades weren't gonna change, they might have to shift by about a foot, maybe 2 feet if I remember right. For the record, Jeff Walsh from Graves Engineering. If there's gonna be a lowering of the road, you need the 2 foot for the horizontal to begin with, plus whatever you need to make up a slope from the base of the retaining wall on number 6 or number 8 down to the road, the shoulder where the sidewalk would be. So typically that's about a 2 horizontal to 1 vertical slope at the steepest. So if you drop it down a foot, that means 2 horizontal feet plus the 2 feet to shift everything over. It's all the, we're probably starting at about 4 foot shift if it's to make horizontal room for the sidewalk plus lower the road.
And is their assumption correct about the need to lower the grade of the road to accommodate this option C that we've talked about?
This option C in the plans that John sent over, and I know Katrina circulated them recently, these show 2 profiles. The one profile we've always been working with is the southbound lane, if you will, the approach to Worcester, Worcester Street. And what John added to the plans is there's 2 sheet set. It continues to show that profile. That profile was updated to show the 8.9% that I had drawn by hand and presented to the board a few meetings ago. And the second sheet has a profile of the northbound lane, so as you depart Worcester Street and climb the hill. And that opened up my eyes, the light bulb went off, if you will, that working just with the southbound approach, it looked good, but we were away from any other physical obstacles besides the housing authority property. But what I saw on the latest plan is that the sidewalk on the east side, the Stop and Shop side of the Snow Road, is partly on the private property of the Stop and Shop folks, or whoever owns that property. And the intersection, that road, to use the 8.9% maximum grade, that road needs to be lowered about 2 feet where the sidewalk is. So in theory, the sidewalk's gonna come down 2 feet. And because the sidewalk's mostly on that private property, that's where the sidewalk either becomes a fixed object and it can't be touched if, in fact, the desire of the landowner at Stop and Shop says, no, you can't touch it, and if that's in fact the way it plays out, or the sidewalk's gotta go down whatever vertical distance the road goes down, so that you continue to have the same reveal from the sidewalk surface down to the road surface of about 6 to 7 inches.
So you concur with John's analysis that the road does need to be sunk, or cut, that grade needs to be cut in order to accommodate this option C that we've asked for?
The northbound lane would have to be cut 2 feet about where it intersects the southbound travel lanes in order to make it work at 8.9%. I like the vertical alignment and all that, but it does require, to make that work, it does require work onto that private property. And that's where it becomes a sticking point. It's, as far as I understand, it goes beyond engineering to work on the private property.
And it sounds like it would probably make the sidewalk on the east side of Snow Road just infeasible, because you'd need another 2 feet on top of the a foot that we had to push this road over anyway.
Right.
Okay.
To try to shift the road more so to the housing authority property, there's pluses and minuses, but in the long run, I think the minuses weigh out.
So then it comes down to, Mr. Chairman, I think basically we're weighing the cost and benefits of both options, right? So this option C gives us a slightly more softer grade approaching Worcester Street. But the trade-off is that there's gonna be more cuts and we make it much more difficult to accommodate sidewalks. So,
And I do appreciate Steve Benincas's point about a horizontal, short horizontal run, 8.9 versus 10%. It's not a big difference in vertical rise because it's only, 100 feet or so. My desire would be have even less than 8.9%, but nevertheless, we're fighting 8.9%, let alone grades that are even less than that. I did, using what John Grenier sent along, I did look at a couple of points to try to see if it could be made to work. And that's at the bottom of of Worcester Street, there's a vertical curve that takes away the sharpness, if you will, of the Snow Road approach to Worcester Street. So I used that type of vertical curve. It's called a sag vertical curve because it's shaped like that. And at Station John 1+50, which is about at the intersection or close to the sewer manhole, just left of the sewer manhole there at Maxwell Drive. Actually, it's where Worcester Street gets, I don't want to call it the narrowest, but right below the where the hand is now. Katrina, if you could go to the building and go straight down till you get to the street. No, I'm sorry, the other street,
this
Snow Road. Yep, right there. Right about there, I looked at, okay, let's try to tie the improvements into that point right there and keep everything to the north untouched to see if it would work out and can we get somewhere near 10%. And very importantly, using the vertical curves that are already shown on the plan to work out. The sag vertical curve is less than you would really like, but it works. It's better than what's there. It accommodates the firefighting apparatus comfortably. And the crest vertical curve, which they tie into as you come up steeper and then flatten out a little bit, that's got a rate of change of, it's a K value in the K of 19. That's the least you want to use for 30-mile-an-hour design speed. Some people might go, the 85th percentile, which is something you normally use, would be probably a little bit higher, but nevertheless, approaching the intersection, so speed should be coming down. Wanted to use that as a basis, and even to try to start with a green arrow and work the vertical alignment toward Worcester Street and start at the vertical curve at Worcester Street and work it up. I got a 2-foot bust. I try to make 10% work, and it would take a 20% grade for about 50 feet to make it work. And that's, so half of that, then it's a 2-foot bust. It just doesn't work. If the sidewalk can come down, could get the 8.9%. Is it going to make a big difference? Functionally, probably not. I really like the vertical curve at the bottom of the hill at Worcester Street. That's better than what's the abrupt change in grade that's there. That to me is very, very good. The 10%, it's not so desirable, but it's for a very short distance.
So the prior version that that the applicant had proposed before was, I don't know if we called it option B or A.
I think it was
But
A.
So that had at most a 10% grade, but that was only for a segment of the approach to Worcester Street.
That's right.
In the leveling area in front of Worcester Street, so the, 100 feet, 200 feet, that's closest to Worcester Street, that grade is more gentle.
There's a little bit of that vertical curve, yeah. And I meant to open up option A and option B before I came here, and I didn't, but I think what this exercise with option C, what I've learned from it would be nice, but it involves another private landowner and the headaches that go along with that if he doesn't want to, make improvements for the neighborhood and more worried about selling groceries than anything else. But, I'm a little disappointed in that, but nevertheless, I think I think the 10% grade and I'd like to ask John Grenier, is it option A or option B that has some type of curve at the bottom. I don't remember.
Option B was the one where we said if we went by subdivision standards.
Oh,
we
that-
went down.
that- yeah.
And we were,
Okay.
that was the Callahan Tunnel.
I call it the big dig. Yeah, no,
So it was-
understood.
It was A.
Okay, it was option A, yep. So this exercise with option C, as well as the sounded good, there was that one variable, and that's why I recommended vet it out, because there might be something that crops up, and
Right.
that's what we got here. Something cropped up, that fixed object on the other side of the street, which is the sidewalk on the Woodley side of the street. So bringing it back to option A versus keeping the 60-degree angle with the two turning lanes. Personally, I like option A better than keeping the 60-degree angles with two lanes out.
And just so, if I could, Mr. Chairman, just ask a follow-up to John, your conversation with Stop and Shop, or maybe this was to Steve, but you said that the Stop and Shop owner didn't want to
He didn't,
accommodate a sidewalk shift,
he didn't want to accommodate any easements onto his property.
but would this require an easement, because we're just talking about lowering the
'Cause-
existing sidewalk?
It would span from, a good portion of that sidewalk is on his property, and then even beyond that, it extends up further onto his property.
But it's already there, so it's not like we're asking for more sidewalk, we're just basically changing the grade on his property.
Right.
That's exactly right. So it would be an
And he doesn't-
easement.
And he's not willing to give you that right.
So what we got hit is, this situation is that.
Can you actually go to the microphone?
I appreciate your desire to create the sidewalk. We have Stop and Shop who does not want to cooperate with us and give us easements in any kind. We have abutters that are unwilling, because we did reach out, notify the abutters are not interested in a sidewalk. And the proponent ourselves feel like it's limited value to add to the project, that it's not worth fighting for. So I understand idealistically, you're correct in what you want, the sidewalk on that side of the street. We're getting no cooperation from any abutters.
I was only talking about the existing sidewalk.
It's on private property.
Yeah,
And so the Stop and Shop owner is not willing to allow you to do
Correct.
work in that area.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
And I might add that if the sidewalk's gonna be lowered, there would have to be some grading on, outside the sidewalk on the Stop and Shop side to slope back up to the existing grade.
Right. And just to kind of close the loop, and I think I said this at the previous hearing, is that the sidewalk that exists on the Housing Authority over on the Maxwell Drive side, that doesn't meet any type of codes in terms of widths. There's handicap ramps that are missing. There's no crosswalks. From practical, anybody who would need, whether it's a walker or a wheelchair, that sidewalk does not function. So we are committed to making improvements to the existing sidewalk, widening it, doing a new sidewalk, doing handicap ramps, doing everything to bring that up to code so that it's functional. And the people, from what I understand from our meetings with the Housing Authority, is the residents there tend to be the more elderly residents that are part of their housing program. So they would get the best benefit out of having a proper, up to date, up to code sidewalk on the side of the road.
Brian, Bill has his hand up.
Yeah, Bill?
Yeah, so it just seems like we're spending a lot of time for something that's not a whole lot of gain. If I understand correctly, really the only gain is just almost imperceptible improvement in the slope of this section of road. I mean, I'm not sure what we're trying to accomplish here at this point. The applicant looked at it, which is what we asked them to do. They've come up with some very real problems, particularly with private property. It just seems like we ought to maybe try to move on. But unless I'm missing something, I'm just, maybe I'm missing, where a benefit is, but it just seems like almost a negligible benefit.
To Bill McCusker's point, I don't have any other ideas about how to improve what's been put before the board with respect to option A.
Any other comments or questions on this specifically? All right.
So is the board okay with option A then moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I'm based on, Jeff's recommendation, I'm comfortable with that.
And I guess the only other outstanding question then is, do you want the applicant to shift the travel lanes to the west by a foot or two to accommodate a sidewalk on the east side of Snow Road that's within the right of way?
Didn't we establish we're talking about 4 feet. So there's 3 feet in the right of way.
No.
We're talking about a 5-foot sidewalk plus 2 feet to handle the grade to get up to the wall.
No, that was under C.
No, it was the same. I don't want to speak for.
If it was shifting this to create room for the sidewalk and lowering the road, we're up in the 4-foot ballpark for shift. The amount of the west side of the sidewalk that would have to be shifted, we're up in around 4 feet.
So we'd just be talking about 2 plus the 3-foot right away.
I
For a 5-foot
think
sidewalk.
we're down around the 1 to 2 foot area if the road were to be shifted. I think the grass area was around 3 feet. Could probably want to have at least a 4-foot sidewalk, ideally a 5-foot sidewalk, but even at a 4-foot sidewalk, probably going to need more than 4 feet of shift on the opposite side. The curb to curb, I think it's around 19 to 20 feet, so you can't skinny the road up anymore.
Yep.
So that means if you've got 3 feet and you really need about 4.5 to 5.5 to make the sidewalk and curbing work on one side, you're going to need probably a couple feet on the other side worth of shift to make it work.
And to do that would require probably moving at least one utility pole.
Probably at least a couple, I think.
And then reconstructing the sidewalk on the housing authority side, which they were going to do anyway, but that's part of that. That would be part of that project.
That's right.
So the question is it worth? Does the board want to ask the applicant to do that amount of work in addition to what they're already proposing under option A?
So just for the record, Dan, John and I had a conversation with the abutter about that sidewalk. He's adamantly opposed to the sidewalk in front of his house.
Okay, we're not talking about taking his property. We're
I
talking
know that.
about doing the sidewalk
I know
in
that.
the right of way.
He's adamantly opposed to the sidewalk in front of his property
Why does it matter?
because he doesn't want people parking there.
Parking on a sidewalk?
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's an enforcement issue. That's not,
that's what he said.
I don't think this
John?
board is gonna be driven by what one abutter, who I don't think has ever shown up to a meeting.
We're gonna put it right in front of his house.
It's a sidewalk.
Doesn't it matter what he thinks?
Doesn't preclude his appeal right either, whether he showed up or not.
He doesn't want it.
Yeah.
With all due respect, I don't think one abutter controls the public safety concerns of a project. So that's one piece of evidence the board can take into account, but one abutter's concern is not going to trump a public safety concern.
And especially for something that would be, I think, an illegal parking.
Yeah.
So I don't know that his concern is, if that is his concern, I'm not sure that is a real concern, I guess.
Personally, I would like to see that sidewalk if we're gonna have this development.
That would be my preference as well.
For the fact of just 2 poles, and I know it might take a while to move those poles, but
Talking about pushing the sidewalk over into the right.
It just seems crazy for anybody that wants to walk down a CVS or whatever, that they have to cross the street twice to,
They would still have to.
They would still have to cross Snow Road?
Yeah.
Where?
There'll be a gap. There'll be a gap in any sidewalk on that side. We have sidewalk in front of our project. Then you're talking about pushing the road over, so we have sidewalk in front of number 6 and number 8.
Right.
Right.
So then they would have to cross over, kind of at the rounding of Maxwell Drive on the north side, go across Maxwell Drive, go down the sidewalk on in front of the housing authority, and then cross back over parallel to 122.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about extending the existing sidewalk in front of 6 and 8 to your property.
There is no sidewalk in front of 6 and 8.
Exactly, that's what we're talking about is.
But then
adding-
so just for that section,
Right,
in front of
adding
6 and 8.
adding a sidewalk in the right of way in front of 6 and 8 to connect to the existing sidewalk that's on the east side of Snow Road.
It
No,
won't.
there's a gap.
It won't connect.
It won't connect.
Where's the gap?
The gap is on the housing authorities. I mean, I'm sorry, on the Stop and Shops on Country Plaza's property. There's a gap there.
And from what I could tell, Jason Panos, for the record, practice RS 46 Andover Street, Peabody, Massachusetts. The sidewalk picks up on the private property.
So there's a gap.
There's a gap, and then it picks up on private.
I understand what you're saying is that it's
But we're saying it would be in the public way. It's not on their property.
The
concept-
current sidewalk is on private property, so you'd need like some sort of like S
Well, right
to
here.
it straddles.
put it back into the
It
public
actually
way.
straddles the property line. Can you actually pull that up?
Which one you want, this?
No, their survey plan.
Circled it.
Their
That's the
survey.
gap.
Yep. Let me send
I
it.
just circled it.
Oh, you did.
They did a survey that shows where the sidewalk is vis-a-vis the property line.
Bill, do you want to jump in while we're pulling that up?
We did or they did?
Yeah, let me lower my hand. I'm gonna
Is it-
let this play out a little bit more.
Sidewalk ends right there.
Do you have a bigger plan?
That's what you wanted?
So John, you're showing the sidewalk on Country Plaza. That sidewalk ends at the property line. Or no, it doesn't. It ends, it's still on Country Plaza's property.
It still is on Country Club. Correct, that's what I was.
So to do this, you'd have to have the sidewalk in the right of way, which we've talked about, and then it would align up with,
Zigzag over.
wouldn't zigzag, it would just line up with the sidewalk that's existing. It wouldn't be perfect like this, it would be like this.
You would, from where their sidewalk ends, it's on the north side, that's totally within their property where it ends.
Right.
So then to have a sidewalk within the right of way to join into that, you'd have a 4-foot step in the sidewalk. Am I-
As I see it, to that, at the end of the sidewalk, it's across from Maxwell Drive. The sidewalk is almost entirely on private property. If you had a 4-foot sidewalk, and this is the right of way up here, they'd have to start another sidewalk like this.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm saying
to
zigzag.
Brian's question earlier, we're looking at about a 4-foot shift in the road over to Maxwell Drive side to accommodate the sidewalk. Not because of the properties at 6 and 8 and the 3-foot grass strip, but because of the property at Grafton Country Plaza and the fact that the sidewalk is almost entirely on their property. That's what I'm seeing from these plans. If I remember right, that sidewalk does go up the east side of Snow Road, and there is a crosswalk that brings you over to the southern intersection of Maxwell Drive, the southern leg of Maxwell Drive.
So, Jeff, I want to make sure I understand. So, can you actually zoom in more right here? Like in this?
Yeah.
So on
there we go.
on the
That's it.
screen, you see the end of the bituminous sidewalk, which on this plan shows it to be right at the property line.
They both own both parcels.
They own both parcels.
I meant the right-of-way line.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
And on this plan,
Same.
it's actually, this plan indicates that the end of it is actually straddling it, but whatever it is, I guess my question would be, if you've got a 3-foot sidewalk that's on the property line that going north to south, could it end where and meet up like this, right? Where the end of the existing sidewalk is, and would that require any more shifting of the travel lane? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. First of all, to get them to meet up like this, physically, I don't see why it could not be done. In other words, if this is the sidewalk on the private property and here's Snow Road, the new sidewalk starts like that so that it stays in the right of way.
Right.
It's unusual, but it's physically possible.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but
Right.
but
It's
we don't have an easement right to go onto their property.
That's right. So that's why you can't put up to the end of it like that.
Right.
Because that'd be on private property. So first of all, it could physically be done. It would probably take about a 4 to 5 foot shift in the road, no less than 4, probably closer to 5.5 feet shift in the road, shift in the curb line to make this all play out. I'm seeing curb that is essentially along the right-of-way sideline.
Oh, I see. So
Yep.
so it's narrower there than it was upper.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. We don't have the luxury of that 3 foot strip, if you will.
Yep.
Between the curb and the base
So
of the.
so in this location, it would have to shift over, but in shifting it over is actually where the Maxwell Drive intersection is.
That's correct.
Okay. So is that feasible or not? I mean, they're going to be. They're not going to be working in that area, right?
Option A right now would not be working in that area. Option A would probably end about where we see the crosswalk on the screen right now, give or take a little bit. Either up the street or down the street a little bit, but not by more than 10 or 20 feet.
Well, they are they are proposing a new entrance. What do you call that? The radius when it goes into Maxwell Drive. They're
Yes.
creating that, right?
It's there, they're improving it, they're defining it better, and they're providing accessible curb cuts for accessibility that there's maybe one curb cut here and there's not a reciprocal curb cut on the other side. If there's even one here. The reciprocal being like if you were walking up the sheet of paper here as you cross Maxwell Drive, even if there's a curb cut on this side now, there certainly isn't on the other side. That I recall clearly. So they're making improvements to the sidewalk system at this intersection regardless.
Right. So I guess the $1 million question is how much work and how burdensome is this to, just so the board can make an educated decision, like how much of a burden would it be to do what I've suggested?
It's a pretty significant shift because of the fact that utility poles are being affected. They're in the sidewalk, maybe a foot off the road, so they're gonna have to get shifted 4 to 5 feet. Whenever they're not straight in line, they need, if there's an angle in the wires, they need a guy. I'm not sure if there's like a minimum deflection angle that they can have with overhead wires where they don't need a guy. But the shift in the angle of the wires puts stress and makes the pole want to pull over. So that's why you'll see the cables on the tension side or the angled poles on the compression side.
And we're talking about poles that are on the west side of Snow Road, right?
That's correct. So generally speaking, it's pretty significant to shift that road about 4 or 5 feet. If it's not being worked for any other reason. If that section of road's not being worked for any other reason.
But it's not 4 to 5 feet the entire stretch, though, right? It's 4 to 5 feet in this location, and then
That's correct.
1 or 2 feet as you go further up.
Yep.
Okay.
And you'd want to feather it in so that drivers basically don't have to make any abrupt turning movements.
Right.
Do we have enough roadway to do all this?
It takes entering onto the housing authority property to make
We'd
it work.
be additionally onto the housing authority by another 4 or 5 feet.
Cohen, if you're gonna talk, you have to come to the mic, please. Oh, okay. Okay.
The question was whether or not it affects setbacks. I don't believe there's any intention to change the right-of-way sideline, but if the right-of-way sideline did get changed, that would play into it. And
What would also-
that's beyond me as far as,
What would also play into it, they have existing sidewalks that come from the buildings out to, so then, and then I think in some areas there's some steps, so they'd be reworking all of their sidewalks. You know, moving everything over 4 to 5 feet and then redoing all their sidewalks too, that go from the units out to the road, out to the existing narrow sidewalk.
That's good. You zoom in
To where?
to the
There you
Maxwell
go.
Drive entrance. So that's the area, Jeff, we're talking about. If we had to shift the travel lane west by 4 or 5 feet, it would go into the Maxwell Drive driveway.
Yeah.
that's right.
And into the sidewalks, yeah.
And then that would be more like 1 or 2 feet in that
No.
area, right?
No, it'd be 4 or 5 feet there,
I thought
because that's across from 6 and 8.
from in front of 6 and 8, we only needed 1 or 2 feet.
And would it still be a straightaway?
You gotta try
How-
to feather it in, it makes it a little awkward.
And how would it affect, pardon me, but how would it affect the Maxwell Drive sightline distances and stopping sight distances and so
No,
forth?
it's pretty wide open, but just makes everything awkward.
For what it's worth, and this is inexact on the GIS, but I've got the main building, so that closest point of the corner of the Maxwell Drive building to the right of way, I've got measured as 26 feet. So if we're gonna shorten that to 22, 21, I mean, they're already in the front setback, but we'd be making it worse.
Well, that's already being decreased because isn't it? I thought the new leg is going to be.
It's getting rotated along
We're
there, but
talking about the housing authority,
the
dimensional setback?
Brian, you're talking about the
Yeah.
building that's closest to Worcester Street?
Yeah,
This one?
yeah, so the corner at the bottom, yep, that corner to the right of way, I've got measured as 26 feet.
To this way?
No, so to Snow Road.
yeah, but the
To the red line, yep.
What about the?
Yeah, so aren't they already cutting into that?
Yeah. What about the next corner, Brian, to the proposed new leg? Doesn't that?
Yeah, well, I don't have the new leg on the GIS, but I think
I think
with the new drawing, we were talking about just getting easements. I think if we start talking about shifting the whole road 4 feet in that area, I think you gotta talk about shifting the right of way.
We already are shifting the right of way, right with.
Well, I'm saying the
area.
difference between shifting the road and shifting a sidewalk that's gonna encroach, I see as two different things, but that's just me.
I mean, the shift in the right of way is way down by Worcester Street. It's nowhere near this.
No, it's not. It's right in front of that building.
The side of it.
Can you move-
if
put
we
the arrow
shift it
here?
over,
It's-
if we're doing this, it would.
It's right around here.
Yeah, but what does
Jason.
that do for us up there?
If you're able
It's the
to
same
bring up
thing.
Plan C or even Plan A, we can see what appears
Oh,
to
that's a
be
good idea.
a possible future right-of-way line.
Yeah,
Yep,
there it is.
there it is.
It's right here.
So that right
Right,
of
see
way
that dashed line
includes
on
that
the back side
sidewalk.
of the curb?
Is that a sidewalk, John?
That's a sidewalk. There's the thicker line is the curb, and then we have the sidewalk, which is there, and then that dash line would be, the modification to the whether it's an easement or a right of way.
Is there an existing sidewalk on Worcester Street going north?
Yes.
Yes,
So that's tying
Right
into an
here?
existing.
that's tying into that existing, correct?
There's
Yep.
a little one
Yeah,
right
right
here
here.
that goes down
Yes.
to like.
It goes down to, what's the name of the landing, Peter? Ekblaz Landing?
Ekblaz.
Claus Landing, then stops, yeah.
Yep. And I think that was added with the last DOT work on Worcester Street that occurred just a few years ago. I think they did sidewalks in that area, and they extended the sidewalk farther north past Snow Road.
Yeah.
I think
Goes all the way down
before,
here.
before that recent work, Snow Road was where the sidewalk terminated.
I think so.
So Ekblaz Landing's not all the way down to Wheeler Road.
No.
No.
Ekbal Landing is right.
There you go. Yep. Right there. Yep.
There you go.
Maybe not quite that
Right-
far.
right
Right
here
about,
where the
hey, there's a crosswalk.
That's
That's the end of the sidewalk.
right there.
Looks new.
I did reach out, by the way, to the Housing Authority Director, Amanda, is it Amanda?
Yeah, it's Amanda.
I haven't heard back yet, but, it would be helpful if we could get them engaged in some communication so we can confer. I don't know if you've talked to her, but.
John has, did a presentation on the proposed taking for the DOT work. That was about 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, and that's when I told you we had the conversation. They said their attorney was the.
EOHLC.
Right.
Yeah, we said, that's, no.
So hopefully I can speak to her and maybe convince her to hire an extra
Okay.
lawyer.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
So,
Want to sign a conflict
so,
waiver?
so for now, Mr. Chairman, I think we're presented with this decision to make whether you want to ask the applicant to perform this additional work, understanding that it would require shifting the road 4 to 5 feet in the location of the Maxwell Drive intersection, 1 to 2 feet, Jeff, is that right? Further down the road?
Further away from Worcester Street.
Yeah. So it'd be some additional work that they would have to do in connection with the work they're already doing in Snow Road. To be able to add a sidewalk on the east side of Snow Road.
Anyone have,
Obviously, the applicant doesn't want to do it. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
So their position is, we don't want to do it. And it would involve more work, it would involve more negotiation with the housing authority, but,
anyone have
That's
thoughts on that?
It is getting pretty tight, I gotta admit that.
We originally signed up to do an additional lane. Now, since then, we've changed the grade, we've changed the alignment, we've getting easements, and now you got to shift in the road, moving poles. We don't even know what the utility people are gonna impose upon us and what it's gonna take to do this, Dan. But I'm sure that if there's anything extra, who's expected to absorb that? Us, right? Obviously. We don't even know what it is because right now this is just keeps going further and further and further. So I think we're building a sidewalk that the abutters don't want, the proponents don't want, but you want it, Dan. I get it.
Bill?
Yeah, I just seem like we're asking a lot here, and they agreed to build a sidewalk with the selectmen as part of the LIP. We know that the LIP said the sidewalk is be where they're proposing to build it. They're proposing to build it, and it would be nice if we could put it all on the same side of the street. But I think we've. Even determine that it's going to be really expensive to do it, and I'm fine with building a sidewalk on the other side of the street. It's not ideal, but it's not in the cards.
So, what did we do with Pleasant Street? With like blinking pedestrian crossings? Didn't we have those added. Anyone recall?
Is that just
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
over to Christopher Drive?
Yeah, I believe so.
There's a few of them. Oh, I think there may be one pedestrian crossing, and there's a few slow signs and things like that.
Is that proposed here? I thought did you agree to do that?
That was never brought up to my knowledge.
The pedestrian crossing?
Yeah, like a flashing light.
Oh, like a beacon type thing?
I don't think
You didn't propose that?
that was never discussed.
I think we hadn't gotten that far because we were
Trying to figure this
hoping we'd be able to work it so that it would all be on the same side of the street.
I mean, is this a point, if we are moving in that direction with regard to flashing beacon and maybe a speed sign, that type of thing, is that something we can table so that we can have an internal discussion?
Yeah,
Rather than take up the board's time with that?
sure.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I think we first need to understand from the board what their prerogative is. And then
Of course.
if they wanna stick with the west side, then we have to talk to you about mitigation.
Of course.
Well,
Wait, what mitigation?
Flashing.
Like a flashing beacon, Bill, like if
Oh,
sidewalks
okay.
need to stay on that side, what's that crosswalk gonna look like? I know we had a letter from Tech. Not Tech.
Yeah.
Tech,
it
they
was
did the traffic
Yeah.
They did the
peer
traffic.
review.
So I'd have to go back and see what they had recommended for that intersection, that crosswalk.
All the more reason why we should table it and get some more background information.
From my point of view, I think I would have liked to have seen this second sidewalk built all the way up, but I think it's just getting too complicated to.
From an engineering perspective, we've been talking about the off-site improvements for quite a while now. Vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, the new layout as far as two lanes, getting closer to square with Worcester Street and the sidewalks. And, you know, the board's been provided a lot more information than what we originally had when we started going down that avenue of off-site improvements. And from an engineering perspective, I think we've shaken the tree as much as we can to try to find solutions that would make it better for the situation out at this intersection and nearby, and for the people who use the intersection. And you know, we've spent quite a bit of time on option C, and it was great until we came across that other fixed object that's caused us a problem. And we clarified tonight, to my knowledge, I didn't even think about it, that strip of Grafton County Plaza land that really has the right of way right up against the curb line. So I think the information's been pretty well vetted out from an engineering point.
Mr. Chair, I do feel as well, I mean, we all would like for people to be able to leave this complex, this development, and walk down the east side of Snow Road, but it seems very complicated. And they've done a lot for off-site improvements on the west side of the road. And if people have to use a crosswalk, for those that walk, a lot of people are still gonna get in their car and drive from that development down to the plaza. So I feel like we have kind of pushed this as far as we can go as well.
That's kind of where
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
at as well.
I just wonder.
All right.
I think we should move on with option A.
Okay. So I think we need to go back and see what Tech had recommended for the crosswalk, and I can do that while we
Yeah.
talk.
Okay.
And if I might throw my 2 cents in as a non-traffic engineer, that with respect to pedestrian crosswalks, I am not a fan of the beacons that flash all the time. I'm a very big fan of the beacons that are actuated when the pedestrians go to use them. Otherwise, people get blind to the flashing lights very quickly. Yeah. And then the other thought is Snow Road is in fact a side street versus Worcester Street, and people are trying to cross Snow Road at Worcester Street. Vehicles approaching on Worcester Street may or may not see the flashing beacons as they turn to get onto Snow Road if someone's using the crosswalk. So Tech will probably address that, but my point is, with respect to people crossing Snow Road, you've got one approach for Snow Road, if you will. People turning off of Worcester Street, taking a left or a right, probably won't see the beacons until they've negotiated most of that turn.
You mean like at the Maxwell Drive crossing.
No, I was thinking of Worcester Street and Snow Road,
Oh, okay.
if they're gonna be actuated.
I was thinking more where there's no intersection. Well, I
Oh,
mean, I guess
okay.
Maxwell Drive is where I was kind of thinking of the, but I like the actuated.
Yep, absolutely, actuated, absolutely, if, you know, with his, at Maxwell Drive, and I think there's what, two crosswalks, yeah, two crosswalks.
Yeah. But
But the point I wanted to make is actuated versus flashing all the time.
and we can table this as, you know, it's a new issue, but.
Yep.
All right. So are there other, besides the option C discussion, what else did you guys have?
From an engineering standpoint, I think you were gonna talk about a couple of cleanup things, or programmatically.
Do we wanna go, how do you wanna?
Well, we had an accumulation of plan issues. I think, John, I'm speaking for you now, but jump in. That once we settled on some of the additions, I think one of them was, for example, moving some parking in front of the clubhouse to accommodate for temporary parking of loading and unloading. There were a couple of other items that we talked about. I think once we decided on the items, John was just going to put them on a plan and present it to the board, rather than do it piecemeal.
Yeah, I think that's.
Is
Right.
that
I think that's
acceptable?
fine.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah, and my rationale behind that is, okay, we show you a new layout, which we don't have an issue with making those delivery spots deeper. But then, okay, we'll change the sidewalk, and then that's gonna change the landscape, and it's gonna, so. And
Yeah,
we were
I don't
writing
think-
before piecemeal.
Right.
We'd like to just throw it on one, say, are you okay with this at the final, and be done. That's,
Yeah, I think that's fine, and I think that makes sense. Anyone
No.
opposed to that?
Mr. Chair, just wanted to, did you receive this email from the fire department April
Did I forward it
14th?
to you guys? The latest
No.
comments from
No.
Mike?
Okay,
Nope.
just might want to make sure this is on the radar. They had some turning radius issues and questions.
I'll get it over to you. I thought I had sent it. My apologies.
and, no, never saw it.
So what was that
Some
dated?
from the
I'm
fire
sorry.
department.
So
I'll get it over to you right now.
Okay.
April
5
14th.
minutes.
Yep.
April 14th. Add that to the list.
Okay.
So, can I just clarify, John, are you gonna give us a plan that shows these spaces being deeper, or?
Yes, but that's gonna be a condition of, okay, with the final stat, give it, and then I think what you had a condition in, I think you had a draft condition in there to that effect.
About the clubhouse? I
About
the
think
loading
so,
spaces?
actually.
You did.
Yeah, I think so.
It was highlighted. It was one of the highlighted items.
Dan, I think I have the same question of you, as you, is I'm just trying to understand whether I should expect to receive another set of plans that monuments everything to date, like was done about 2 months ago, or if it's gonna be addressed as a condition now, expected to be seen on the construction plans that'll be reviewed before they go to construction. I'd like to walk away from this meeting clearly knowing whether it's,
Yeah.
I've gotta look at plans now or plans later.
So I have a programmatic question about that, because in the decision, you basically have the comprehensive permit plans that are referenced, and then you have the so-called approved plans, which would follow, and then you have the MEP structural building plan. So there are 3 layers of plans that are contemplated in this decision, if I read it properly. My personal preference would be to collapse that into 2 stages. You have your comprehensive permit set, so whether or not you do that approved set with the
can make-
comprehensive permit.
You can make them too. I mean, you can make make the approved plans and the final, what you call them?
Well, you have the comprehensive permit plans,
Well, that's your.
and then
those are
you
already done.
have,
Those are done. Those are the existing plans that you
Right.
filed.
and then you have this concept of approved
Right.
plans.
Yep.
And then you have your building permit set, the MEPs, the structural, the building plans, that
Right.
type of
But
thing.
those two things can be collapsed together. We don't care about that.
Okay, that'd be great
Yeah.
to do it that way. I'm just trying to eliminate.
There's only
a
one
middle-
plan submittal to the board after tonight. It's the approved plan set that incorporates any changes. There may not be any, but if there are any changes that are
Right.
required in the conditions,
Yes,
then that approved plan set would include those conditions. So,
That's
for
what I
example,
said. That's-
for example, the parking spaces and being longer, that would be something you'd include in the final approved plan set.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
But I think we need to understand what you're talking about. So I
yeah.
was kind of hoping there might be a concept sketch or something that you
Okay.
could show us.
Well, all we're gonna do is obviously make those spaces the 22 feet deep as opposed to 18. I think we're 18 to 22.
Can you tell us what spaces?
It's gonna be the spaces that were designated as delivery spaces.
Can you pull up that sheet?
Yeah, I'm getting it right
So there's 3 spaces on either
now.
side.
John,
of-
what sheet is that?
It's sheet C4.
Thank you.
On either side of the clubhouse, we had 3 spaces, a total of 6 spaces. Well, there's a handicap and 2 on the south side, and there's 3 deliveries on the north side. So we were gonna make those deeper, and then we were gonna realign the sidewalk so it wasn't so funky. We'd probably put a little grass strip in there and blend it in better.
So the 5 delivery spaces would be lengthened to 22 feet, you said?
22 feet. And then we'll realign the sidewalks so they blend in better and update the landscape plan accordingly.
Jeff, is the width of these spaces still okay for delivery trucks?
They're 9 by 18s, we're gonna go 9 by,
9 by 22. Ideally, it would be nice to get a little bit wider, because those vehicles are a little bit wider than a passenger vehicle.
10.
10 would be fine.
You could do that, John, because you've got all that space in front of the clubhouse.
We do.
I think 1 foot would make a difference.
So that would be a total of, cumulatively, it would be 3 feet.
5.
3 plus 2.
There's 2 delivery vehicles,
On the
Down.
north side, it'd be 3 feet.
3 on one side and 2 on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay,
But they're
okay.
they're split.
Right,
They're
right.
split.
Yep, you got plenty of grass to do that.
I have plenty of grass to do that.
What's the length of a UPS truck?
22.
Gotta be longer than a pickup truck.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's like 22 feet. We looked it up. We were anticipating this conversation.
A UPS truck is only 22 feet?
No. There's,
Is 22.
yeah, there's, I looked it up, and I got a range from like 22 to about 28. And I keep wanting to chase down one that delivers to our place, but seriously, the manufacturer's got a number of different ones, and they sell to FedEx, UPS, and all that type of stuff.
I agree with you.
Probably should go about 24 foot deep,
10 by 24?
10 by 24.
All right.
That should
How many
accommodate
spaces?
UPS.
It's
Not all the
delivery
UPS,
spaces
and
on
I've
either
seen
side of the
UPS even
clubhouse.
around here. Whoa, that's a long one compared to what we normally see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't see those real long ones delivering typically to
Can you do?
more to larger commercial areas is what I've
Oh, we
seen.
did that.
So if the
Yeah.
board's comfortable with this, I can
Yeah.
draft a condition
Open.
that those delivery spaces will be increased to
10 foot by 24 foot.
The sidewalk or the pathway will be realigned, and then that will be put into the revised plan set that they give us down the road.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, that's fair.
Mr. Chair, will the extra width in those spaces create issues with the 2 crosswalks on either side?
We're gonna have to realign, we're gonna have to,
But you think you can do it?
oh yeah. That's how everything, you change one thing and then everything.
The crosswalks could be put, instead of at the terminal end of the arcs, they could be put on the arcs if they had to.
Yeah. Or I can even do a little shift. I can split the difference and maybe take a little bit off of the island that's on the north side radius. I don't want parking spaces at the radius, but I could cheat a little bit, a foot or two on that north side of the, if you go along that drive across from the townhouse number 2, you know,
Yep.
on that curb. I can cheat a little bit on that one, just to, if it makes things funky over by the crosswalk. There's a little bit of play there.
Just might have to bring the sidewalk curb line onto a radius as well, so that, just be careful that you still have the minimum length, if you extended the curb line across.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
But I have a little ability to tweak some stuff over there at the end of the day. Okay. All right, let's get things moving for Bill.
Does Phil have to jump
He's got a hard stop at 10, but
at 10 o'clock?
it's only quarter
Past 8.
Quarter past 8.
But, I'm
Okay,
sorry, go
I'm sorry.
ahead. Did you have something to say?
There was a couple, if we're gonna be going over site-related stuff and engineering stuff as opposed to.
Yeah,
Let's,
we're on
let's,
that
yeah,
path.
so space in front of clubhouse, check. There was one of the items that I saw was, regarding the accessory garages. And before it said, 20 spaces, 20 feet between structures, but I think we had this conversation at the last meeting. With the garages, we have the garages, one after the other. We do have a break in them, so that at least we're breaking up the right there. There you go. So didn't we discuss that was gonna be fine with the way the garages are, because they're basically accessory garages? They're not like habitable, obviously. We're talking about the separation between them.
I think the question was to check with the fire department.
Right, and I think one other thing we talked about too was Colin Babcock. The other thing too we talked about, I think, was that they were screening for those houses over there. So that was one of the other concerns that we had. So technically, we could build all those garages right in a row without any gap in between them. They could all be one after the other.
Or it could be one continuous
Correct.
building, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, by code. We just split them up because it looks nicer and it feels nicer.
What is the distance, between the three structures?
It's like 5 feet.
How much?
It's like 5 feet. It's not much. Okay, so I guess is that okay with the?
I thought we settled that last time.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I thought we already discussed
We
it.
wanted
did.
to
I just
confirm
wanted
it
to be sure.
with Mike Colleen.
Oh,
and we
just having spaces between the garages?
If he had any concern with the lack of space between the garages.
Oh, lack of space.
Yeah, it's still,
Usually they require 15 feet.
In
and I-
between?
And I remember that from Fisherville, they require 15 feet, or either 15 or 20 feet, and if it's below that, because they have to if they've gotta do a ladder or anything, they've gotta have the space to be able to put it up. Now granted, it's a one-story garage. It's a one-story garage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, or you do it all one whole building?
Yeah, it looks better this way. It was more for aesthetics. It's actually more difficult to do it this way because now you'd have one continuous foundation wall as opposed to breaking and ending and do two end walls.
Right.
But it'll look nicer. That was the purpose.
and my experience with fire code and putting residential buildings together, they're more concerned about houses and habitable structures than they are accessory. But by all means, get the fire
Okay.
department's weigh in. But it is still addressed as a requirement in the decision. The other thing you were going to show, just to add to your tick list, snow storage areas on the plans. We're going to
Yes.
show them.
Yeah, we discussed, I think that there was one of the items was that we wouldn't have any snow storage within any parking spaces. And I think the discussion at the last meeting was that there may be, to do some temporary storage in there during storms, and then if they need to move it, they'll move it or truck it off if need be. The reason being, we have, plenty of parking, and it would only be temporary. So that was the only item we wanted to say. So we could have some temporary storage of snow within some parking spaces.
And I don't think that was a,
No, it wasn't a big sticking point.
Yeah,
I don't think at the last hearing, and if I may, the condition might read something like, to the extent in our determination that, snow storage areas exceed capacity, then we would truck it out.
Yeah.
And we would be willing to live with that kind of
Yeah.
condition.
I mean, you're basically gonna store the snow in the parking areas,
Well, we're gonna designate,
because there's no place else, you're not gonna put it on the lawn.
Well, if they had to temporarily, they would. They don't want to, obviously. Then
I mean, you have,
then it becomes in the springtime you have a mess with.
yeah.
I mean, the only lawn you have is dog park and the, kids' playground.
And we have a big lawn area. If you're looking to the south of the building that's behind the clubhouse, what number is that building?
4.
3?
Building 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have that whole area to the south of building 4. That's rather large,
Where's that?
Where's that?
right here.
right?
Oh, building 4 right there.
Isn't that the dog park?
The dog park is only about half of that. Half of that.
Just zoom out.
Zoom out.
Where's the,
Yeah,
That's the dog park.
where's the front of it?
That's open.
Don't you have to jump a,
You have to jump the curb.
curb and a sidewalk to get to it?
Yeah. But I mean, they could take a loader and dump snow there. They're not going to. If it comes
Right.
down to it, they're gonna truck it off site, because then it's
They're
just
go-
gonna be a mess in the spring, and the landscape's gonna be, the grass is gonna get.
No, they're gonna pile it on parking spots and truck it out.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Which-
Temporarily.
It adds truck traffic to Snow Road, but
We talked about that at the last hearing, you might recall, about, you know, basically, when we're in the middle of a winter emergency, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the conclusion.
And the only other couple of things that were noted in there with the,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, for the limit of work, we did show a limit of work around the perimeter of the project. That,
Sheet C5.
I'm sorry, yeah, on the grading
Thank you.
and drainage sheet C5, which you can see that it's erosion control area and limit of work. There were a couple of spots in the conditions where, and I think this might have gotten pulled from one of the other projects. It said if there is an existing tree along the property line, and then wherever the drip line of that tree is, you want to stay 10 feet beyond the drip line for a limit of work. So, in some instances,
And that dictates the, limit of work
that
line.
dictates the limit of work. What we're saying, the limit of work line that we have is pretty much it's a hard line for the grading that we need to do, for whether it's for grading, swales, stormwater, etc. We did go out, if you recall, Jesus is going back a little ways, if you look on the landscape plan, we had gone out to see areas where there were trees that we could save, and we do have notes on the landscape plan.
What page is that, John?
I'm sorry, it's L1, it's kind of near it's after the details, it's kind of near the end of the civil
You're talking
section.
about the landscape plan?
L1. Yeah, that's it. Back.
Back?
Oh, not that far.
I know, too far. My computer's touched.
Right there.
This one?
Yeah, that's it. and see at the, kind of near the top of the sheet, underneath where the detail is for that tree planting, along the northerly property line. We said, in the areas of the rear property line, trees to remain shall be flagged. Once flagged, infill with evergreen trees and or shrubs as needed. And then further on the easterly side, kind of in the area of the basin, it said that in the area of the rear property line, trees to remain shall be flagged. Once flagged, infill with evergreens, because there are the ability to save some trees over there. But in the area that's kind of near where the I'd say the driveway that goes down to the parking garage underneath building 1, in that area, because of the water quality swale and the storm water there, we do need to be right up tight near the property line, and that's where we have quite a bit of evergreens. We had 30, what's TN?
Giant green arborvitae.
Giant green, those are the ones that grow big.
John,
So my point is, we didn't want to be saying, okay, we're going from a drip line of a tree going another 10 feet. We're gonna keep as much as we can, but in some areas where it's tight on the property line, we need to have the limit of work where we show the limit of work. That's the point.
And just for reference by the board, he's talking about, condition D1,
Open space.
page 17.
so John, I wanted to, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the condition D1 was speaking about trees that are off-site. So we're talking about trees on abuttering properties
Yes.
that we're asking you to stay 10 feet away from the drip line of those trees.
Right, so the point is, if there's a tree that's 1 foot off the property line.
Yep.
And then it has a drip line that's 15 feet, hypothetically, extending on, and then go another 10 feet, we could be 25 feet into the project, so.
Do you know if there's any trees in that category? I mean,
You know, a lot of the trees,
because we're only talking about 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess
it's really only along, I mean, the area that, on the southerly side by Stop and Shop, it's definitely not much there. There's some pine trees over there.
Well, I don't think
Along the
this is
northerly property line, there are a few trees that we want to go and flag and save on our property. I know that in the area of in the back towards the basin, actually back towards Danielson and Valentine and Danielson, there's a nice big, like, it's got 3 veins of big oak tree. There's 3 veins like this that we know we can save over there. So so we're gonna flag the trees we can save, but really the only area that's tight is really in that, I'd say that's north center section. And again, that's for grading for our stormwater, water quality swales, et cetera, in that area. So we need to be tight in that center area.
so. You're going to be cutting in that area.
Yes.
Okay.
But then we're gonna be replanting it. But I just don't wanna be, again, if there's a tree that's a foot onto the abutting property, but then has a drip line that's 10 or 15 feet hanging over onto us and then go 10 feet away from there, it doesn't work.
Okay. Do you guys understand that?
And I would just clarify too, I think, Attorney Hill, your reading of D1 was that it's talking about 10 feet outside the property line. I don't read it that way.
Right.
Within 10 feet of the perimeter of the site, I think that reads as 10 feet either way to me.
That's the way we read it.
Okay.
Right.
Then that's poor draftsmanship. That was intended to be 10 feet on the other side.
Oh, okay, I just,
So off-site.
We're not trying to save your trees. We're trying to save the abutter trees.
right, okay. I just wanted to be clear, cause I was saying, okay, how is this physically going to work?
But still, your point is that even a tree on the abutting property,
If
if it's a foot on the other side, you might not be able to. You're going to excavate up to the property line potentially,
correct.
and I think that's a reasonable concession. I think the board needs to make. Honestly, I don't think we can actually enforce this. I mean, it's a nice condition if we can get it, but where they're showing grading right up against the property line,
Right. And,
So
that would
if,
probably have a major impact on.
if I may, rather than go through the decision piecemeal like this, there are many issues like that. I had an opportunity to go through the decision really carefully with the project team. And for efficiency purposes, what I do recommend is give me an opportunity to redline this and get it over to Dan and Katrina, and then maybe have an internal back and forth, vet out some clarifying issues just as we did with D1, and then present a comprehensive kind of set of discussion points for the board subsequently,
Which would,
rather than go through this and
all
have
over the
this
place.
discussion and be all over the place. Exactly. Is that
makes
something that suits the pleasure of the board?
I think that makes sense to me. Dan, does that work for you?
Well, it sounds like they want to postpone discussing the conditions tonight. Is that,
Yeah, just because I have issues on almost every page. Some are not that significant. Some are questions. Some are, some we need to talk about.
I mean, we could talk about waivers next,
Sure.
and if we have time, I mean, I would think we'd want to try to get through these. I mean, you have notes, so we could talk about things, and if we could make some progress, I think that'd be great. But we could start with waivers and see how far we get with waivers.
I mean,
I don't know, Dan. I kind of defer to you to
Yeah.
what your preference would be.
Well, I think their preference would be to not to talk about conditions, and you're prepared
It's
to talk
not
about
that we
waivers.
don't want to talk about them. We want to talk about them. It's just I'm not sure going through my hand scribbled notes with the board and trying to go through a stream of consciousness is the most efficient way of doing it. I'm just trying to be respectful of the board's time.
Sure.
Do you want to talk about waivers tonight?
Yeah, we can do that.
Bill, do you want to?
Yeah, it's, you know, if the applicant's counsel is saying, you know, he's got red lines on everything, then I think there's some like systemic issues that maybe he and Dan need to work through. So, you know, I don't think that's the type of thing that we're going to be able to help much with. So I would like to see Dan and council kind of resolve a lot of these issues. You know, I caution the applicant's counsel that, you know, the decision that Dan has drafted is one that we've used, you know, in probably 7 or so recent 40Bs. So we're going to be reluctant to make many changes. And so I think it's more a case of just understanding what the intention is, what we're trying to do.
And yep.
So let's work through those. I think for them to work through those offline would be much more efficient.
And given the level of work we've done, I can promise Dan that I can get this to you no later than midweek next week.
okay.
To just keep it moving and allow enough time for the next hearing. And to your point, Mr. Chair, a lot of the issues are specific to the project, you know, making the decision a little more specific to the project. They're not changes necessarily to broad conditions that you that are tried and true. It's more how this fits in the context of the plans you're about to perhaps approve with conditions and that type of thing. So I think at the end of the day, when we go through this process, it's got to result in a tailored decision, if you will.
I
Does
have
that make
no
sense?
objection to it. Just if you do change something in this, will you give us a new one showing what the changes are?
Yeah.
So we don't have to go word for word.
Oh, yeah,
Over it.
red line, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So waivers?
Waivers.
Waivers.
Yep, I have it ready for you.
All 35 pages of them. So for the pleasure of the board, the waiver list I'm going off of is the one I actually submitted. There was an attachment, and I suspect it dropped off because it's an attachment by PDF that was embedded in a Word document, and maybe you couldn't get it
Are you
to
talking about the version from last night? Or,
the version from last night, but even from April 8th did not have the attachment A, which is basically the zoning table from the plans.
I may have taken that off because I didn't think it was necessary.
Well, it's referred to in the waiver table, so. And it's an ease of reference type issue.
Okay.
Did anything else change? I didn't compare it word for word.
I didn't
from
touch
what
the waivers, so
Okay.
the version that was sent out last night didn't have any changes to the waiver table, and in fact, I don't think I included it in the email. I just
Got it.
included the conditions.
Got it.
So we're working off the April 8th version.
April 8th, right. All right.
And I'm sorry, Attorney Panos, the waiver request that you had submitted, what's the date on that? Is that
March
25th?
25th,
Got it, thank you.
yes. Oh, before we totally hop off the decision, while I'm working up the red lines, Dan, can you do the findings?
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right. So what's the pleasure of the board? How do you want to proceed?
How do we usually do this?
You know, we just go line by line. I think we typically, a lot of these waivers are ones we've seen before in past projects. I'm gonna pull up, what was our last one, Upton Street?
Upton and Pleasant for both, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll pull up that decision while we go through this, just to compare what we did in that decision with what they're asking for here. Because I'm assuming it's, you know, gonna be a lot of the same.
Some of it is. I think this is a little more comprehensive than that. You know, we really went through the zoning bylaw and every other bylaw, rule, and regulation applicable to this project and vetted them really carefully. I'm not suggesting that you didn't do that on Upton Street, but I know that what we started out with was a lot shorter than what got submitted to you. What we started out with the application, I guess. Yeah. Let me pull out my zoning file. I don't have the other file.
So you know, my practice preference, I think, is to not include waivers that aren't really necessary. I think that this first category, I don't think we've ever included this waiver. I don't think anyone's asked for it. It says a zoning permit shall not be issued for any use until a site plan has been submitted or reviewed by the planning board. So I'm not sure this is even applicable. And maybe you're including it just to be over-inclusive to make sure you didn't miss something, but, to me, this is not something you need.
I mean, it kind of ties in because we're not in front of the planning board, and more importantly, we're in front of the zoning board of appeals, which is the permit granting authority acting for all other boards. So a reference to a site plan review by the planning board would be inappropriate in this context, so that's why we sought the waiver. We would respectfully disagree. And it also says that a zoning permit shall not be issued for any other use other than those specified. This use is not allowed in this zoning district, in either zoning district, community business or R20.
I mean, as you just said, we're sitting as the planning board essentially.
You're sitting as the zoning board of appeals instead of the planning board in their place, in their stead. You are not the planning board.
Agreed.
Yeah, so you would have to go back and look at the zoning bylaw section that's being referenced, and so section 1324 needs to be read in conjunction 1323, because it says that the zoning permit should not be issued for any use other than those specified in sections 1323. So 1323 says, the inspector of buildings may issue a zoning permit without further review by the planning board for any use in a district that's designated as a Y. Right, so you've got your table of uses, you've got certain uses that are designated Y, yes, allowed. And in those cases, the building inspector can issue a zoning permit without further review by the planning board. So the next section says a zoning permit should not issue for any use other than those specified in 1323. Well, what they proposed isn't even on the table. So it's not, in my view, this isn't something that is covered under these sections. This is a unique project, it's 40B, it's not, I mean, I guess I'm not like opposed to granting a waiver from it, I tend to try to keep these tables shorter than longer, but if the board wants to grant it, there's no harm in granting it.
I mean,
Mr. Chair?
Mr. McCusker.
Yeah, I guess I'd say to the applicant attorney, what use is it that's specified in 1323 that requires the planning board to issue a zoning permit in this case? Because that's exactly what you're asking for a waiver from. So there's some use in 1323 that, you know,
Out for the review.
I guess I'm kind of with Dan. There isn't one, so you don't need this.
Well, wait a minute.
It says if it's a Y, the building inspector can issue a permit without going to the planning board.
Yeah, the exact language of 1323 is the inspector of buildings may issue a zoning permit without further review by the planning board for any use in any district that is designated by a Y in the use regulation schedule.
What does the Y mean?
Yes.
Y, yes.
Like it's allowed by right.
It's
Oh,
allowed by
yes,
right.
okay.
So obviously this use is not allowed by right, it's not a Y. So the building inspector can't issue a permit, which means it would have to, according to that, go to the planning board.
And,
Is that right?
but the referenced waiver request is a zoning, 1324 is a zoning permit shall not be issued for any use other than those specified in section 1323, which is the one we just read, until a site plan has been submitted to, reviewed, and approved by the planning board.
But our point is that this use is not even in the table. It's not among the uses
Got
of
it.
1323, so
Right,
we don't think you need it.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I might add, we're gonna get down to a waiver for the multifamily use in the non-multifamily zoning district, and I think that's the meat and potatoes that needs to be addressed, and I don't see the need for the waiver request here, but I'm an engineer, not an attorney, so.
This is the next one, it's the next waiver.
It is the next waiver. I'm willing to forego it.
Okay, so the next one is 3231, multifamily dwelling use not allowed in the agricultural zoning district.
Medium, medium density
I'm sorry.
residential.
Yep.
Well, 2 and 3 kind of go together, because we're in two districts, we're in an R20,
Right.
and then we're also in
Right,
the
right.
CD.
Yep.
So it's a waiver from,
Yeah, and this is a waiver we've always granted if we're granting a preference permit.
Yeah, so 2 and 3 are fine. We would grant those, right?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, just a form over substance question. So the last two paragraphs of the waiver being sought are repeated for virtually every waiver request, which I don't think we've ever done in our prior decisions to specify with almost every waiver that the zoning board of appeals is acting on behalf of other boards, and that the comprehensive permit, provides all permits, or can provide all permits necessary. So, yeah, I think maybe we say it once, or maybe we say it as a footnote to the table. And I think it would cut half the pages out of the waivers.
That's amazing.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, to be honest, you don't even need it at all. I mean, it goes without saying, that's what we're doing. We're acting under 40B. So do you really, it's your request.
Well, I put it there because there are many areas in the zoning bylaw where the zoning board of appeals, again, is not the permit granting authority. Under your bylaw for some of the relief necessary to allow this. And I think it's important. Again, putting it in a footnote in one place would be very efficient. I'm happy to accommodate that, but I think it should be referenced.
Okay. All right, so moving on to number 3. Four.
4. Okay. Intensity of use schedule 3232. Whoops.
That's the table.
Yes.
There we go. It's just,
Right
it's,
here.
it's the zoning
Yeah,
table.
it's the zoning table.
How does 4 differ from 2 and 3?
This is,
4 is the dimensional.
this is your dimensional relief. You call it intensity of use, it's the dimensional, controls.
I think the other ones were for the use.
Yes,
This is for the dimensional controls.
correct.
Minimum lot area, front yard, side yard, rear yard, etc.
So you have the same section twice, actually more than once. You've got 4, 5, and 6 all have to do with the same section. I'm wondering why that can't be consolidated.
Well, you have different sections of that, of 3232. And the reason why they're broken out is because you have 2 different zoning districts, number 1. Number 2, we broke out the exact, applicable offsets and
Within the-
dimensional controls.
But I guess I'm confused as to what number 4 does. I understand 5 and 6, and that's what we normally do, is we break out where you don't comply with the setbacks and other things, height,
Right.
whatever. But what's 4? I'm confused with what 4 does. What does 4 say?
Hold on a second.
Mr. Chair, I had a similar question, and this pops up numerous times throughout, where we'll kind of kick off a section with a generally waiver, and I don't believe that's been the historical practice of the board. I think the practice of the board has been to grant specific waivers, which is what we get into, starting with 5, 6, and so on. But
Yeah.
these kind of generally waiver requests, I think, would be too broad for us to really entertain.
Okay.
I agree with Brian, and unfortunately my notes are home, but I think I had actually, when I went through this, now I remember, I had it denied on 4. 4 is, we're not gonna give the number 4 waiver, but, because it's general, basically it's waiving the whole table. We're not gonna do that, whereas 5, 6 gets into the details, so I think that's really what we wanna focus on.
That's fine.
So should we remove 4?
I'll remove 4. And obviously I'll renumber accordingly. 5 and 6, obviously are right off the zoning table from the plan. But are specifically referred to.
And those dimensions are shown on that sheet, what is it, C4, dimensionally, and I'd note that the foundations are 30 feet off, but for those townhouses, we have a little, and again, it goes back into the definitions of what's a structure, what's a building. It's just for a little covered porch that's over the front door at the front yard, so it just gives it like a nice little front door, makes it look real. So that was 20, we went unit by unit, building 1, building 2. Those are 28.7, 27.5, and again, it was just for like the little covered, the little covered overhang over the front door, not for the foundation itself.
So that's what we have historically used.
The foundation?
No,
The overhang.
The overhang, okay.
So, you got it right? Or did you?
Yeah,
not?
no, it's,
Yeah,
so
it's
we called
accurately
we called it,
reflected.
we
Yeah.
called it out accurately, but
Yep.
just for the distinction, it wasn't for the foundation, it was just for the little covered, landing in front of the front door.
Yeah, and it all applies to the townhouse buildings
Yes,
in both instances, 5 and 6.
and then, so, yeah, 5 is within the R20, and then 6 is within the
Right.
commercial business.
Right.
On the townhouses, you have to park behind them, but to get to the front door, so you gotta walk all the way around the house to get to the front door.
Which it's, I mean,
It's all
for all
for
intents and purposes, it's
aesthetics.
kind of a dummy front door, it's just aesthetics. Not that you can't get out there and walk out, but I don't wanna call it a dummy door, but it's not, people coming in and out, they're gonna be parking their car within the project, but it's to, you can go out that door, but it's to make it blend in and make it look like, it's more the residential, look, and give it a little more dimension.
In the streetscape.
On the streets, on the streetscape.
Blends
correct.
in.
And they'll be entering the townhouse from the back.
Yeah,
Right.
Unless you park out in Snow Road.
True on somebody's.
just don't park.
There's no signs, there's not gonna
And
be
don't park
signs.
on our new sidewalk.
Well,
People do park out there.
Well, this is gonna have a lot of parking, so hopefully they won't.
Yeah, no.
This is really an overpark
Yeah,
plan.
so hopefully people won't
All right.
need to park on stuff.
So they've got,
Can we get focused back on the waivers?
Yeah.
Okay.
so they've got front yard setback waivers, 30 feet's required in R20, 40 feet's required in CB.
Yep,
So they go down to, high 20s or low 30s.
yep.
Side yard, what's required is 15. They've got 10, 8, 10 for certain buildings,
So it's for
or for garages.
Garages, yeah. That's number 7.
And then for 9, you've got height, and so now the max is 35 feet in R20, 35 feet in CB. They've got, the apartment buildings are as tall as 56 feet. That's, building 1 is 56 feet, building 2 is 50 feet.
In the 50, I think we've talked about this, the 56 feet is from the rear.
It's how
That's
it's,
the left
It's
elevation
measured
only.
according to the requirements in the bylaw. So
that's-
it's mean height,
the
right?
mean height, but
Yep.
don't forget that drops down in the back where the subsurface, so that's why it
That's what I'm-
drives, when you do the calculation, because it drops off, that drives up the height. But it's the same height as building number 2, which is 50.25.
Yeah,
From the front
All
elevation.
things being equal, right?
I had a point, I know we tend to get fairly specific, but I didn't know if we wanted to specify that dimension is only for the left elevation. It's not the front or the back, it's just where the driveway goes into the garage. From that elevation, it's 56 feet.
Well, it's the mean, so it's.
Well,
the-
right,
the
but
middle,
it's-
So it's not necessarily.
That's the only spot where that measurement applies, is from that driveway into the garage.
It's the mean between the front and the back, which is the middle, not necessarily.
No, it's the mean of the roof height, not the mean of the
From the
front,
grade.
front to back.
From the grade.
from the grade.
It's still, I mean, if you look at the plans, that's the only elevation with that dimension, is the left entry into the garage.
Yeah, yes, yeah, physically, if you're, unless you go, from the back it goes down, then it steps back up heading towards building.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the biggest elevation is at the garage.
But you guys aren't saying the same thing.
Well,
No, they're definitely not.
The calculation isn't from the ground at the garage all the way up. It's the mean between the garage and, say, the front elevation.
May I
The mean
read,
is the middle.
may I read the definition? Would that help?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, height of building. It's, page 6 out of 15 in your zoning bylaw definition, section 2. The vertical distance from grade, which is the average finished ground level to the top of the highest roof beams of a flat roof, or to the mean level of the highest gables or highest point of hip, pitch, or sloped roof. When a building faces on more than one street, the height shall be measured from the average of the grades at the center of each street front.
So if you just look at Plan A102, the architecturals for Building A, the only face that measurement apply. I'm not disputing the measurement. The measurement's right, but the only face with that measurement is the left side elevation with the garage entrance. All of the other dimensions match Building 2, from the front and back and the right side elevation.
Then that can't be the mean.
Well, it's the mean
point.
of.
But if you look, see where it says left side elevation? It says,
We're
the
looking
average
at
grade.
sheet
I'm sorry,
A102.
Well, no, because it's the mean of the roof too.
Okay.
and see where it says average
I'm
grade?
reading it slightly different. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Highest roof beams of a flat roof, irrelevant, it's not a flat roof. To the mean level of the highest gables, irrelevant, it's not gabled roofs, to the best of my knowledge. So that leaves us with the highest point of a hip, pitch, or sloped roof. I'm reading that to be the peak of the.
It is gabled.
So it should.
Oh, it is
go to
gabled.
that
It is
one.
gabled.
I apologize. So
Okay.
okay, so that one applies.
So read the gabled one again, though.
Okay. To the mean level of the highest gables. I'm not sure how to interpret that.
Yeah, the mean.
The mean is the middle.
Level.
'Cause
So
the
middle
level-
of the gable.
If I may,
The top of the gable is going to be level.
building code expert here. So in Grafton, the way they do it, it's the mean average of the grade and the mean of the highest gable. So you take your highest gable and you take your average grade. So you take your grade. So if it's flush 3/4 of the building and 25% of it is down,
These are the highest gables.
goes to 6, 8, 10, 12. That all gets averaged out to that height. Whatever the height may be 67 feet, but the average becomes 56. And I don't know if that's the actual number. I'm just using those for
56.2.
reference.
And by the way, for context, when we went through this, we actually initially misinterpreted
Correct.
the
Yeah,
bylaw.
the
We actually had a much higher building.
Right.
We were actually asking for a much larger waiver of about
Remember,
10 feet.
Yeah.
Of about 10 feet.
Yeah, and I worked with the architect to get these numbers.
Yeah. Thank you.
But that measurement on the right, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess either side, where it's marked at the top and the bottom is the mean.
That's the mean height of that gable.
So this is the mean of the foundation
And then is
Or
the average grade,
grade.
at the bottom
to the, and that's the mean of the.
of the grades.
There's
from
a
front to
mean
back.
on the roofs? I thought it said the highest part of the roof.
For a
For
gable,
pitched,
it's
for a
the mean.
pitched roof. For a gable roof, it says to the mean level of the highest gables. So the average level of the highest gables, okay, so my interpretation now, I'm a little less confused, you can have different gables at different elevations. But it says the mean level of the highest gables
So you're averaging them out too. then.
is, yep, independent of the average ground grade and then comparing the difference between the two.
Okay. I think we're,
Sufficiently confused.
I think we're good.
And number 10, there's a typo.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Okay.
Maximum, not minimum. Unless you found another one.
All right, and then 11,
11's another generally.
yeah, you need a, what is 11? I don't,
Hold on. As long as it doesn't require me to do any math. Oops. Intensity regulations. Yeah, it's a general one, so I can take that out.
Oh, this
Thank
is
you.
the,
And then we get into the more specific ones. Whoops. Oh, wait a minute.
trying to 12.
3.3 intensity regulations.
It's this one. 3331, right?
Hold on. 3331, yes. Yeah, you had a problem with this one. This was the functionally equivalent one, remember?
Oh, so it's saying the, yeah.
so for context on 3331, this is
Number
kind of
12.
kind of a confusing provision, but for Upton Street, we responded by saying we're waiving this provision to allow 7 structures to be erected on the same lot. The development parcel will have X acres, X, Y feet of frontage, and Z feet of width. I think we can handle this the same way. I don't think we need to go into the litany that you went into.
Well, we do have some specific measurement, actually. What do you object to? Because we
Well,
do,
I'm actually suggesting that we can more broadly waive this because that's what we've done in the past.
okay,
Rather than going into, we don't need those specifics
okay.
unless the board wants to, but in
I mean, do
No,
you
I
feel
prefer
strongly
to
about
do it the
this?
way we
This
did
was
it
your issue, John.
our precedent has
Oh,
been,
was this did this deal with the separation between buildings too?
No,
Yeah.
that's coming.
That's, okay. No, I'm fine.
No, this
Well, it
addresses
does-
separation.
it does.
This does.
Oh, is this a separation? No, there's a provision in your
A, B, and C.
bylaw that says that the
Yeah, it is.
tallest building dictates, is that this one?
Yeah.
The
it is.
distance shall be the
The
minimum
minimum
distance
distance.
shall be
Yeah,
The sum of, so
Right.
you've got 5
whatever the
buildings or
height
6
of the,
buildings.
whatever the height of the
tallest building,
tallest building is, that's what the separation needs to be between
right.
structures.
So that's this one. Yeah, you and I picked up on that.
So I stand corrected. We did actually address that specific issue in Upton. So we did say,
Yeah.
we allowed a waiver of the spacing requirement to allow 25 feet of spacing between buildings 3 and 4. So to be consistent, we could include these specific spacing.
Right, right, and we give you the exact, okay, that's exactly right. We give you the exact
Distances between.
distances between the buildings because read literally, we would require distance spacing of 56.25 feet. That's the tallest building, as you just saw.
Is that how the board interprets this? 'Cause I'm reading the last section of 3331 as the minimum distance between the structures shall be the height of the higher building. Not highest building, higher, as in between the two structures. So read that way, I don't think you need B because you have 50 feet between two 40-foot tall buildings.
Right. How it was interpreted in the most conservative way. So what he said, okay, the highest building, what we just went through
Dictates
the-
all of it.
We saying the highest building, which is building 1 that we just went through, the mean,
Right.
that was the tallest building. So I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with you. It's if you're looking at one building and another building, why are you saying the separation should be for the height of a building that's down the street? So, but again, that was the most conservative reading of it.
And we're talking about 10 principal structures here.
Oh, yeah. So it's a distinction without a difference.
We're just to give it, we're down to an hour. Just letting everybody know.
Well, my read on this is there's also another part of it that's important to their waiver request, and it's the minimum lot area, the minimum lot width, the minimum lot frontage shall be the sum of the requirements for each individual structure. So you take the 10 structures times minimum lot area times minimum frontage and all that, they may or may not be compliant. So if there's a waiver request, the waiver request does address that.
And we give you that number.
Yep.
It's in the second paragraph. Waiver requested to allow all principal structures to be placed on one lot.
14.6
Yeah.
acres, 492.4 feet of frontage, and 508.54 feet of lot width.
Gotcha.
I think the way they've written 12 is actually correct. I was mistaken before, so I think.
I didn't want to chime in, but there was a lot of discussion about building dimensions, and then I saw the land area requirements too.
Yeah.
And is the board okay with our interpretation of the height applying to all 10 structures, the distance between them? I know there was a little bit of a discrepancy, but again, as John indicated, I'm not sure it really.
Yeah, I'm just speaking for myself. I don't think B is necessary, but if we're comfortable granting it, then, you know, it's.
Yeah,
That's
which
my
is the
interpretation.
distance between buildings 3 and 4, which is 50 feet.
Right.
So you've
I
got
would-
50 feet, and you'd only,
The height
based on
of the
my,
buildings that exceed
those
the
two
height.
buildings are only 40 feet tall.
Right, right. 6 of one.
So, yeah, I think we should strike that. Strike B, because you don't need it. Yep.
Well,
All right, so number 13.
well, it's measured by the height of the building that we
Okay,
present.
so he's saying we don't need B?
So this is saying that no building shall exceed 40 feet in height except for certain structures. So they need a waiver from that because they've got 2 buildings that are over 50 feet tall.
Yeah, respectfully, I think we do need B, because you're talking about one lot, and you're talking about several structures, so what's to dictate which is the defining structure, and what are the 2 structures for comparison? I think it's easier to say tallest building applies to the distances between all of them, rather than parsing the language and trying to figure out what you're comparing the two.
But that's different than what the bylaw says.
Yeah, the bylaw says
Well,
the separation between each building, right?
The minimum distance between the structures shall be the height of the higher building.
Right.
Higher.
We're talking
not
about
higher.
2 buildings
Higher.
and
So
the higher of the
But
2
which
buildings.
2 buildings?
the two that are in question.
Yeah, the distance between the 2 buildings, the 2
Got it.
subject buildings.
Got it. And you think that only applies to B?
Because we're, those town, the smaller buildings in the quad are
Yes.
only 40, I don't wanna misquote, but I think they're like 40 feet tall.
So basically, you're giving
Yeah,
us 50,
they're
but you don't
50.
really
So
need to give us 50,
Right.
because the tallest building's only
Yeah,
40.
39 feet,
Yeah.
They don't need the waiver.
Yeah, right.
39
Oh,
feet.
got
8
it.
Right,
inches.
you don't need a waiver.
Got
for
it.
that.
Okay, so just take out subsection B?
Yeah.
Right.
And the townhouses are 28 feet tall, and you're only providing 25, so that one, you know, you only need 3 feet of clearance, but you still need the waiver.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
Yes. So we've got that in D contemplated. And it goes without saying that all my lettering and numbering is going to change as I delete
Right.
things.
So we're at 13?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a height that exceeds 40 feet. You've got 2 buildings that are over 50 feet. So, any problems?
This is another general one. I'm happy to take it out.
So now we're to off-street parking. We require 2.25 spaces per multifamily dwelling. And I know we beat this to death at the last hearing. You're saying you have 436 spaces for 200 units, right?
Correct.
And is that what we decided last time?
I think we wanted to carve out townhouse versus apartment building.
Oh, okay. Sorry to interrupt, Brian, but
Yep.
in my analysis of the parking for the large buildings versus the townhouses, I separated the two. And that was a lot of the discussion you've heard from me over the months. With respect to this waiver request, they're looking at site-wide, and it's up to the board if you're good with site-wide or not. I can tell you site-wide, I'm good, and the subset of the townhouses and the subset of the large buildings, I'm good as well. The waiver request comes in and just looks at it one way, the overall site.
Yeah. So I think we can say in our column, so we have their column and our column, and so in our column, I would say for the townhouse units, they meet this, they don't need the waiver from it, but for the other units, the rest of the project, we need the numbers. So I know we talked about it last time, I don't
Okay.
remember what they were, but whatever
And-
the total parking is.
And it only negligibly takes down the ratio.
It
You know,
doesn't
it-
change the,
It takes it,
it's just more detailed in what we're
Right.
granting versus what you're asking.
sure.
And Dan, I
You'll
can give you
have to do
those
that.
numbers if you want them for the large buildings.
Oh, that'd be great.
It's a total of 404 spaces at a rate of 2.10 spaces per dwelling unit.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
2.10 spaces per dwelling unit. I looked at the, was it 4 large buildings? I looked at them as a group. I didn't look at the
Right.
parking around them. So again, it's a total of 404 for the large buildings, 404 parking spaces, which breaks out to 2.10 spaces per dwelling unit.
And that includes the garage spaces.
That's correct.
Okay.
Do we want to spell that out in the request?
I can put that right in the request if you want me
You
to.
can leave the
Yeah,
request.
I don't think you need to change the request. We'll spell that out in our column to the right.
Oh, I got it in the, okay, fine. I mean, I'm happy to
You can
put a
if you want.
parenthetical.
You don't need to.
Okay.
So that's just gonna
Okay,
tail it.
yep, that's fine.
All right, 16.
No parking.
This was something we looked at carefully.
All right, so no parking area serving a multifamily dwelling should be located near a lot line. And then the distance is required for minimum yard. So basically you're not supposed to have parking within the setback areas.
Correct.
And this only is for the garages on the side yard setback 10 feet community business, for the garages, which are but stop and shop. Right?
Let's see. Garage 7, garage 8, yep, it's all the garages.
Yeah, it's the garage.
No, it's on both sides, isn't it? It's
Yep.
garage 7, garage 8, and garages 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oh, do we have garages in split? We have garages in split zones.
Yeah, we do. Oh, yeah. So 7, it's 4, 5, 6, 7?
It's 10 feet and 7 CB, community business. 8 feet in community business for 8. Garage 8. Which one's 8? We're reading off sheet C4, by the way. For purposes of the
This is,
record.
again, this is on the stop and shop side.
Yep. And then side yard of 10 feet in the medium density residential R20 zoning district for 4, 5,
And 6.
6, and 7.
Yeah, because that splits between, so it's
It's
everything,
split.
it's all the garages on the south side.
On the south side.
On the south side that abut.
And
Stop
not this.
Shop.
Yep.
Except for number 9, which is over 10 feet away in the commercial business district. Number 9, the farthest
9
one.
is
Oh,
this
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Not trying to be nitpicky, but
That's our job, right?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm a pain in the
Are
butt
we
engineer.
sure a garage is a parking area? At the risk of, we kind of just went through what a parking area is on a whole different case.
Dare I ask?
No.
No, don't. But
That is a good question. I don't know that.
I don't,
Are the garages considered parking area? I think they are because they're intended for parking.
They qualify as a structure, so would they fall
well,
into that?
the definition of parking area is an area other than a street used for temporary parking of more than four automobiles. An area, it doesn't say a structure, it says an area.
But a structure is an area, isn't it?
What's the area in
I
the
don't-
structure?
All right.
So,
Really?
so garage number 8 is only 4 spaces, but the other 4 sets are 6 spaces apiece,
Whoops. Hold on.
and collectively it's 24.
No.
I mean, there's no definition of area, but I don't know, I find it hard to believe that a garage is considered a parking area.
Yeah, I agree. I think it obviously violates the building setback, so it wouldn't make sense they'd have a separate setback for the building. It's duplicative.
Yeah,
Parking. An area other than the street used for temporary parking of more than 4 parking area.
Well, that begs the
Well,
question, do
parking
we
s-
have any parking spaces, open parking area that
Well, these are,
violates the setback?
no.
No.
So we could leave this request here, deny it, and just say that
It's not necessary.
it's not right.
Right, and that protects you because you asked for it and we said you didn't need it. So if someone comes back later and says you needed it, then you can just point your finger and say, well, I asked for this.
Okay.
Right, so at least it's documented.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that 16 you're saying take out?
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
not
leave
taking
it,
it out.
but we'll
It's gonna be
deny it.
denied.
They'll deny, just so it's
Gotcha.
documented that it doesn't count.
So just so I'm clear, I'm removing certain sections to keep it nice and clean for you guys, and I'll do that in red line.
Sure.
Instead of keeping them and have you deny them.
Right, with the exception of
With-
16 so far.
So far, right,
Yep.
perfect.
I guess I'm not clear why we're denying 16. If we think that it applies, if we think a garage is a parking area, then I would vote to grant it. I think the issue is I don't think that a garage is a parking area. So I don't think you need it. I think that's similar to what we had with other ones where you just flat out don't need it.
Right, so what we're doing is leaving their request there, denying it and saying that they don't need it because it's not a parking area. But just so
Okay.
there's, we can
record.
refer back to this if this issue comes up.
Okay, but didn't we have them remove some other ones that weren't needed?
Yeah, but those I think were,
Repetitive and
Well,
general.
they're ones that we would have denied, and I don't think it's a different category.
I don't feel that strongly about it. It just seems like it's not. It felt like we're doing something different on this one. But if the board wants to leave it and deny it, I'm okay with that too.
because I think the difference here is that we disagree on the definition. And this just protects them that,
Yeah.
there was a request. And we could always go back and amend it if needed.
Without going into the details, is this being debated or litigated, Warsaw? In town, is this definition being litigated with regard to, or debated?
No, there was
In
a neighbor was complaining about a parking area. The zoning enforcement officer basically disagreed with the complaint, and then the neighbor appealed to us, the zoning enforcement officer's decision, and ultimately withdrew their appeal without prejudice. So I think it's over. But as part of it, it was a question of just what is a parking area?
Okay,
Mr. Chair, just check back to the Upton Street decision, and we had at least one waiver request where our column said allowed, although technically not technically applicable, and we went into why. So if we wanted to, we could take that route and say, it's allowed, not technically required for. We don't believe constitutes a parking area.
Same, different.
Yeah.
I think whether we allow it or deny it.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
I like that idea.
accomplishes the same thing.
Okay. Okay. Dan, do you want me to fill these in? Approved, allowed with the parenthetical?
Yeah, we can compare notes. I'm taking notes too, so
Okay.
when we talk, we can go through this.
Okay, I'm happy to do that.
All right, so that was 16. We're up to 17.
Yes. This has to do with your parking aisles.
So it says no street access drive for parking areas containing 6 or more spaces on a loading area shall exceed 30 feet in width at the street line. So where we have the boulevard entrance,
Is that what we were considering that?
the boulevard entrance.
Correct.
So the total width, because we have a center island in the middle and we have two 18
Right.
foot driving aisles on either side, the total width of that boulevard style is 44 feet. Because we have two one-way aisles with a center island.
At 18 feet each, with an 8-foot center aisle.
Okay, makes sense.
Plus radii at the street line,
Plus what?
plus the radii, the two radii.
Zach-
There's a 30-foot radius that gives you, I forget what I'm looking at the street line being the right-of-way sideline, so it's
Oh, you're talking the end of
44
the-
plus
That
whatever
30-foot
that
radius.
would be.
Is
So
that
that's-
contemplated in this bylaw provision?
That's a good question because I really don't know.
Okay.
But I'm reading it, street line, I'm looking at, what's the width of the driveway of the street
Right,
line,
the
it's
street
44
lines,
plus.
which will be the end of the
So
radius, so
it could be 44 feet plus the radius if that was, Dan, I don't know if that's appropriate. Not defining the width at the street line.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna defer to the engineers on that.
so that would be that'd be 30 and 30, because it's a 30-foot radius.
I think it's fine for us. We don't need to get into this
Okay,
level
okay.
of detail and just say we're granting the waiver to allow the driveway that's shown in the plan.
Okay.
But if we say a total width of 44 feet, that doesn't cover them at the street line.
I would just say 44 feet excluding the street line radii or whatever the technical.
Oh,
term
that's a
is.
good idea.
What's that called?
There you go. Well, there's a radius on each side and the plural's radii, so I've been calling them radii.
So where would we insert that after the 44 feet? At the street line, excluding? What's the
Excluding the radii.
Excluding the excluding the radii.
the street line radii?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It at least that description makes the intent of the board very clear, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Unless you wanted to add 60 feet to it.
No, that's,
No.
All right.
Um,
4245.
Yes.
Parking areas containing more than 5 spaces shall include or be bordered within 5 feet of the spaces by at least one tree of 2-inch caliber for each 5 spaces.
That's a lot of trees.
So your waiver request is similar to what we approved in Upton Street.
Which is
And we make general reference to the landscape plan.
Right. So is everyone okay with the landscape plan?
Yeah.
Okay. 19.
Just to be clear, you're not proposing any illuminated signs, any electric signs?
Well, yeah, the project site might be illuminated in like backlit LED.
Microphone.
Sorry. Yeah, the project site in like at Snow Road will could potentially have backlit LED.
I think that's fine, because that's not,
Like illuminated letters. It wouldn't have like
Yep.
spotlights or flashing.
Right.
Yeah.
that's not an electric sign, right? It's not,
It's not a moving sign.
No,
wait,
I think we had a specific waiver for this for Pleasant Street.
Yeah, we did.
I'm sorry, can you explain that again? Is the sign,
So you have a sign. So I don't know. Say like so we did one in Millbury. It's just 19 Canal. So it's the symbol. It says 19 Canal, and the letters are like push through plastic LED, and they're illuminated white like at
so
night.
it's not external illumination shining on it, the sign itself is.
Correct.
Oh, so
From the
that would-
inside out.
So that is, I think, a electric sign under our definition.
Technically, yes.
44211,
And I think,
which you didn't ask for a
Pleasant
waiver, but I think you probably need
We
it.
definitely do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but. Under 441,
But I'm
well-
not sure what the board's gonna think about this. so.
hold on,
Well, that's.
I have the zoning bylaw. in
Did
front
we
of me.
allow that in Pleasant Street?
Yeah.
That kind of sign?
With the exception.
I don't know, really? A backlit sign, I mean, a electric sign like that?
I think on Pleasant Street, what he's describing was almost the exact same sign, cause they knew Pleasant Street was dark and with the lights there, they didn't wanna put spotlights in, so it was gonna be backlit.
Can you find the decision for that?
Yep,
I've got it.
Yeah, it's a very subtle approach to create attention to where the drive is.
I think
It needs some kind of
same
light.
Correct.
idea. As they did at Pleasant Street.
We denied it for both Pleasant Street and Upton.
oh, did we?
What?
Well, for Upton, I think we said, it wasn't necessary because it was, right,
Cause
Brian?
where it's located.
I think Upton Street, I'm reading the Upton Street decision, and it said that the waiver wasn't
externally
required because it
allowed.
was not an electric sign. But Pleasant Street,
Could've been the final decision.
It's externally lighted. So that means spotlights on it,
Oh, here
maybe?
we go.
Yeah.
So I have a picture of it if you'd like to see. Just
it's 44211.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no lights.
So it's like a glow.
Travel.
And I think that's,
That's why you denied that.
at Pleasant Street, they had it, I think,
Like it was
along the,
really, yeah,
the
yeah.
It's gonna be
brick
on the
wall.
wall. It's gonna be on the
Yeah.
brick wall at Pleasant Street.
So I think it was
with
the opposite.
illuminated from the back.
But what's
We denied
what's an electric sign?
But we said in both cases that these were not electric signs because they were externally illuminated.
Right, whereas this is internal.
Yeah,
This is internal.
This is,
so this is different from Upton and Pleasant.
It looks nice though. I mean, I like the way it looks.
Which
I mean,
one?
Well,
To be honest with you, this has less impact than an externally illuminated
It-
sign.
Yeah, it's
It
very
does,
soft.
it is contemplated here. It says internally illuminated signs, luminous signs, and signs illuminated from an external source. So they're all wrapped into one. Directed solely towards said sign are the only permitted methods of illumination. So it is permitted as a method of illumination. The light from any sign shall be so shaded, shielded, or directed, or shall be maintained at a sufficiently low level of intensity and brightness that it shall not adversely affect the neighboring premises, nor the safe vision of operators of vehicles moving on public ways. Only white light shall be used for external illumination of a sign. And this is not an electric sign because that's talking about message signs, I think.
And what he just read is pretty typical about just about any
Yeah.
sign bylaw in just about every town we've ever worked in.
Yeah.
And obviously is to be approved by the building inspector upon applying for a sign permit.
Yeah, so we do need another exception. We need an exception from the building permit requirement. Or the sign permit requirement from the inspector of buildings. You would be acting in his stead to grant such a permit, basically.
We don't grant permits.
Yeah, and that's typically, we've gotten
Well-
them through the board.
It would be
Right.
wrapped in 40B as the building inspector for purposes of this bylaw provision is a local board, you'd be acting in this stead.
So what's an electric sign if it's not that? Is there a definition somewhere?
Number
I didn't
six.
find one.
4421, illumination. 6, an electric sign on which the message is visible only when the sign is illuminated, including
But that's not the
limited-
definition of electric sign.
Well, I'm just reading from your bylaw.
Well, no, but then you could read number 1 and say that's, no,
Oh,
that's
right,
not the
okay.
definition.
Hold on. Let me find the definition. Pardon me.
I'd be shocked if they had it in the
They-
definition.
Don't.
But looking
But
at
let's
the
see,
sign.
sign, yeah. That's what I'm doing. Signs, see section 2.3.
Even
Who
without,
wrote this?
Catch 22?
even without a definition of electric signs, I think the description in 5 for internally illuminated signs, yada, 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 is more aligned with what we're talking about.
Correct.
Sign.
Okay, so the conclusion is they don't need a waiver.
Oh, wait a minute.
Well,
You do have an electric sign definition. Want me to read it?
What's
It's in section 2.3.
Yep.
There's a whole section of sign definitions.
wow.
Look at that. Electric sign, any sign which is internally illuminated by incandescent or fluorescent lamps, lighting emitted diodes, LEDs, electroluminescent material, luminous tubes, or other means of converting electricity into light. So we have an electric sign.
Technically, it is.
Sure sounds like it.
Yep.
Anything with a plug hanging out of it.
Okay, so going back, it's not a moving sign. Okay. So going back to 4411. No sign shall be erected except as provided in the bylaws.
No, it's 44211. Electric signs are not permitted in any residential district.
The sign,
4421.
the sign would technically be in the community business district.
Is it?
Yep.
It is.
Good point.
Huh?
That's why you're here, Brian.
Good point.
Blind chipmunk finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, because we'd be putting it right there.
No, we're putting it, we actually showed it that, we said development sign, 100
Oh, right there.
feet
Yeah.
maximum. And we looked at, it's before the radius, so that when people are driving up, they can see it. They're not,
Yeah.
it's not in the radius of, or the radii.
What plan are you looking at?
I'm sorry, C4.
C4.
It's kind of, we have so many,
Yeah, it's spaghetti.
it's spaghetti in there, but we got it
But
in
if
there.
you look at Snow Road and it's right next to Townhouse Unit 5.
A little bit.
Okay.
And we have it 5 feet off the street, because we have the edge of the road, then we have that sidewalk, then we have the landscaping in there, so it's kind of blended into the landscaping and.
So you guys are good.
But I think I need to add a waiver, don't I?
Well, we have it 5 feet off of.
Oh, no, we're good because we're in the right zoning district. We're in a zoning district that doesn't prohibit it. Is that correct?
Wait a second. Well, no, because it says, with the exception of freestanding signs, all freestanding signs in the NBCB, which that's where we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shall be installed no closer than
Right.
12 linear feet from the front and side lot line. So it says we have to be 12 feet back. We're proposing the edge of it to be 5 feet back.
Oh, you're talking about
19.
waiver 20 or 19? 19.
Right.
Pardon me. Yes.
And the
Okay.
sign is not in the site triangle.
It's just on the edge of it, but it is out of it.
Yeah, so that's why we're kind of,
I'd be more comfortable to push back like 1 foot,
6 feet.
just to be out of the site triangle.
Okay.
Can you add that
Yeah.
to your
I
notes?
think,
Put it on your notebook. Been keeping notes.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of the site triangle, right?
Yes, it is.
So you wanna push it back how far?
One more foot from whatever they're proposing.
6 feet instead of 5 feet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay, and I'm gonna reference that in 6. Okay. Otherwise, we good with 19?
Yeah, I think we're good with that, right, Brian?
Yeah.
We have a half an hour.
I was just looking. I gotta have.
So now for number 20,
Directional, informational.
We point to the plan, so.
Yeah, it says the square footage of a directional sign can only be 2 square feet in overall dimension.
Right.
And when you pull into the site, remember we wanted the directional signs to go to, you know, whatever, building 2, building 3. So we wanted it 2 square feet is, you know,
Tiny.
Tiny. So we said, to make it a maximum of 5 square feet in overall area.
These are like the wayfinding signs
Yeah.
inside the site.
Yeah, so when you pull in and you're facing the clubhouse and somebody says, oh, okay, where's building, whatever the address gets assigned, oh, go this way, go that way. So just 5 square feet so we can make it,
Does this have
Legible.
to say where it's gonna be?
It's
They're on the plan.
it's on the plan.
It's on the plan.
When you pull into the site, Peter, it's, across the driveway, just the drive would look a little bit to the right, the sign would be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it says, the label is in the area of the clubhouse, it says wayfinding sign, 5 square feet max. We may have to move that one.
do we get any comments in the planning department on these waivers?
No, because I didn't have a plan
Ah.
at the moment.
Jeff, do you have any opinion on this one?
I agree that 2 square feet's awfully small for the number of buildings and the sign of the letters probably needed. I'm fine with it. If it was pushed a little bit more up the sheet, it's still within the commercial district, not that that matters, I don't think. Then the drive would be more, looking at it more straight instead of over to the right.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think it's, you know, I know there's balancing that with the aesthetics of looking at a nice looking building and then a sign. But, I think a wayfinding sign is a good idea. For those people that come in, just to keep people from wandering, if you will. So,
And 5, it's 2.5 by 2, you know, it's not big.
Right.
Yeah, especially when you've got, you know, half of it on one direction going right and the other half going left, that sort of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
people need to know which way to go, otherwise they're gonna circle the whole place.
Right,
agreed.
okay.
Do you guys have any concerns about the height at the very end of that section? Nor 3.5 feet above ground if freestanding. I don't know if that 3.5 is to the bottom of the sign, to the top of the sign.
Well, I was just about to ask that question.
I think it's to the bottom and it's maybe so that cars can see under it or something like that. And I don't even know which section you're referring to, but,
It's 44342,
Waiver 20.
waiver 20.
It says directional, if mounted on a building, nor 3.5 feet above. Oh, so it can't be above 3.5 feet if it's freestanding.
Right.
So,
Well, that's not gonna work too good on snow in the weather.
No. Eliminates our freestanding, our wayfinding sign, doesn't it?
I see these being as about, you know, 5 to 6 foot
I was
height,
gonna
somewhere around that area.
5 feet
There's
high.
four, bottom being about 4 feet plus or minus, and the top being 6 feet plus
Yeah,
or minus.
max.
So do you wanna add that to your?
yeah, that's
What's
a strange requirement.
what's the
I agree, Bill.
I'd say max 6 feet of height off the ground.
and a height 6 feet.
So we would, you'd just be consistent
Max.
with if it's a wall mounted or building mounted, because it
Yeah.
says those can't be over 6 feet above the ground, so it would just be consistent with that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right.
5 feet.
Right.
21. Freestanding sign maybe. Yeah, we were asking for 100 square feet in the CB as opposed to 75 feet allowed.
I don't understand what this is
Yes.
talking about.
A
It sounds like a
freestanding
huge-
sign may have 1 square foot of area for each 4 linear feet of front lot distance, up to a maximum of 75 square feet of sign area. I mean, that to me is
That's
the dictating.
permit sign, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Provision.
what sign would this be? What,
Uh,
the sign that is gonna be
that would be
illuminated?
the entrance sign.
Yeah.
100
Yeah.
The entrance sign.
Entrance
Yeah,
sign.
So it maxes, it, depending on your frontage, you can go bigger and bigger, but then they max you out at 75 square feet.
Wait.
We're saying we wanna have the max size at 100 square.
You want a 100 square foot sign? That's huge. Right?
Well, again, is it the,
Upton has 25.
25?
yeah, what do you, what, I guess. It depends
Are
on
you
what you're
counting the sign face? Is that it?
the-
Sign area.
Yeah, so we're typically around 50.
That is defined.
I'm sure it is, because there's an
We're
extensive
typically
sign.
around 50 square feet.
Hold on.
Right, that's with the base, with the base.
It is?
Yeah, so the last sign I did at Trailside was 103 inches long, 66 inches tall.
Do you want to come back to us with the dimension that you're thinking of?
Yeah,
Well,
I
we
could.
need
I
to
could come up with
know
a.
what we're dealing with as far as what dictates the dimension.
It wouldn't. Yeah, we could do that.
Do you have a sketch of the sign that you?
Not at this point, no.
I've seen Trailside and it's not, I mean, and that's a much smaller development.
Right. It would be
So,
very similar.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that
it
side's beautiful.
Seems to fit that development. It's not as big as.
And that's 50?
Yeah, it's
50
103
square feet.
inches long, 66 inches tall.
Can you show us,
What's
written
that?
something that we can see what it would look like?
So it's almost 9 feet by,
And
Yeah,
you know what?
9 by,
We could submit. I could submit a few different designs. So I got one in design right now for
One
another
square foot of
project.
area for each
I can give you the
4
trailside design,
linear
and I can also give you the
feet of
19 canal
front
design. They're all
lot
very similar.
distance.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, they're,
Yeah.
they're nice. They're clean. They're not.
One- so take-
Yeah,
they're
modern,
nice signs.
same
Modern.
approach.
You take the front.
Similar sizes.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
100
little
square
slide
feet.
rule.
Let
me get my pocket
protector.
protected.
What it's sitting on or.
That's like a billboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'm sorry, Cohen, what was the dimensions of the trailside sign?
103 long, 66 tall.
103
inches.
by 66. Thank you.
So that's like, yeah,
It's got that memorized.
under 50.
I'll go buy it tonight on my way
You
home.
must have written that down a
I know,
lot.
how do you know that?
How do you know?
If
Well,
it's
I go
backlit,
back
take
to it
a
every
picture
time I
of
do
it.
another design.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
6,
I'm working on it, Peter.
Where or what is
a
Trailside?
half by
It's at
Trailside's
Boylston.
on,
5.
140 in
140
Boylston.
So 140,
north,
it's-
like in Boylston, West Boylston.
Essentially, the
Boylston.
big building that we're doing, it's that building.
Yeah.
So the
In
building one,
I
building
mean
two.
Boylston.
Yeah, on
in Boylston, yeah, 140.
just north of Shrewsbury.
Oh, I know what that is.
Okay.
Yeah, I've driven by there.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Alright, guys, we got 20 minutes, and don't forget, we're gonna have to also try and continue this, and we have to pick a date, so
Yeah, so, yeah, exactly.
We have
So you want to
continue
cut it
you.
off now?
maybe.
No,
10 minutes.
no, let's
Keep going.
keep going.
Okay.
46.
So
46.9 feet.
21, we're.
I got
Yep.
0.7.
So we're at
but I didn't,
21.
I'm off an inch too.
They're gonna come back with 21.
Yeah.
22
22, I think
is a
that's
general.
what
we're
we're
gonna
It's
take
under
that out.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jason? That's
yes. What is section 5? Section 5
They may not
That's
need a waiver.
23.
23 is
is
also.
special
general.
regulations.
Let's just delete.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a waiver from pre-application review. You already have this contemplated in your decision.
yeah, we don't waive that. We don't, no one asks us for that waiver, we don't waive it, so it's not applicable.
22 is,
So 24 is one that we see every time. This is the lot size requirement for multifamily dwelling projects.
Wait a minute, what happened to 23?
Wait,
That's a generic one, it's getting deleted.
Well, it's
out.
not applicable because
It doesn't
it applies to
apply.
special permits, and this is not a special permit.
Alright, there shall be at least 5,500 square feet of land area for each dwelling unit.
So we've kind of already agreed to 24, haven't we? Just based on the project?
Yeah, this is the one that gets granted
Yeah,
for everyone.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so,
So we okay with that?
yeah,
I had a difference in the number.
You did?
Sheet 2 has 636,229 square feet, 200 units. I get 3,181.145. So you might want to increase that to 3,182.
Discrepancy of 3 feet isn't bad. I'll take it.
Among friends.
Do you want to make that a change?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, 25.
Yeah, this has to do with lengths.
The length of the building cannot exceed 140 feet. You've got apartment buildings 1 and 2 having 278 feet.
3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5 are 151 feet. What about the garages? What are that?
Each building, well, it depends on whether we're breaking them up or making them one
Well, and
contiguous.
140 feet long, those are.
They're in the 72-foot, 96-foot range.
Yep. Good.
Yeah,
I mean, you went through those fairly carefully,
Yeah.
but
yeah. they're
you
not
want to
100
review them again? Just
They're not
as a-
140 feet long.
Yeah, they,
Okay.
they look shorter.
Good, good.
26. All right, so this is the water supply protection overlay district. No more than 25% of the lot shall be rendered impervious. Except you can go up to 75% when you satisfy the recharge requirements of section 7.5D. You're asking for impervious of 45%.
So it says we can go up to 75%, but it has to be reviewed by
The Conservation Commission.
the inspector of buildings.
Inspector of buildings.
Oh,
The
right.
ins- the
After
building- the
after
building
consultation.
inspector- The
Yeah.
building inspector can do it, so I guess you're acting on behalf of.
Right.
But that's upon a finding that these criteria are met, which, have we looked at that criteria?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
They increased the volume of, they decreased the volume of surface water runoff. Hence, they increased the volume of recharge. So I looked at quantity, and we've had a lot of discussion about water quality and how much treatment. And so I'm satisfied with both quantity and quality with respect to the water supply protection overlay district.
And is that because of those recharge units or whatever? I forget what they're called.
That's right. The open basin as well as the roof recharge
Roof
system.
recharge system.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we broke it up throughout the site, so it's distributed and it's.
Jason, I would take out the second and third paragraphs of your request. I don't think they're really germane. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's more like legal, that's like an argument you're making. I think the first paragraph is what you need.
Yes, and I'm going to add that catch-all in a footnote anyways in the last paragraph.
Right.
So, I mean, John, do you have any strong preference about the second paragraph? That the project complies with stormwater
No, and
management?
that's been reviewed.
Okay. Okay.
All right, 27.
Adjacent to for the length of each side.
So this requires a 15-foot wide area of landscaping to the side and rear. each side and rear lot line in a multifamily dwelling project.
Should be a 15-foot wide area of land.
So you don't have 15 feet?
Landscaping on a portion of the northern side, well, we break it out. So let's look at C4.
It says adjacent to. Well, yeah, because that, if you look at the,
Less than 15-foot wide landscaping area along a portion of the northern side lot line to accommodate stormwater management features.
yeah, so where we have, again, all that water quality swale along the northern property line, where it's a swale, that's not, I mean, it's grassed and it's gonna be sloped and grassed, but it's not like a formal landscape area along the northern property line. And again, we are gonna be planting along for screening, but it's not like, a designated 15-foot wide landscape area. Kind of being technical about it, but.
Yeah, and then we've got garages encroaching too, right? On the southern side lot line to accommodate garages.
Yeah, and the southern, and along the Stop and Shop side where those garages are.
Right.
So, what landscaping are you proposing on that northerly property line? I don't,
On the northern property line?
yeah.
So, on the land,
That's the lighting plan.
on the
So you're
landscape,
saying infill with evergreen trees or shrubs as needed?
because we're gonna, whatever trees that we can save along there, cause there's no significant trees, but there's trees that you could save, so what we noted was that we are going to, we'll flag the trees that we're gonna save, and then we're gonna infill that with evergreens and shrubs for screening.
And what's the area that's behind, Hugh Riga and Cadigan?
So along there, that's where we need to do some grading up closer to the property line. There's no trees gonna be saved, so we're gonna be doing the giant arborvitaes.
Is that what 30 TN is?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, was that also to help screen the headlights going down into the garage?
Well, if somebody's pulling, yes, because if someone's heading that way, that would screen them. Like if somebody's pulling in the driving aisles in front of building 1, especially closer to the quad, that may, it's quite a ways away, but that may, and we have some trees at the top of the curb, next to garage number 3, and then along that whole northerly property line, we're doing the what are the green giants?
Is the board concerned at all about the lack of specificity in terms of the other areas along the northerly property line where they say infill as needed? I get the point that they don't necessarily want to show a landscape plan until they finish the work and then they know it's needed, but you're basically leaving it up to the applicant to make that determination rather than us approving it?
Dan, where are you reading from? I'm sorry.
He's just talking about the notes on. he's
Oh,
talking about
on the
notes
plan, pardon me.
On the landscape plan.
Pardon me.
I think in the past have we reviewed landscape plans?
We have,
Post permit, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Prentice Place.
Okay.
yeah,
So that could be an option, where we could ask to review the landscape plan. When you determine what's as needed, then you show us a landscape plan that what you're going to do.
Who's the reviewing authority? Is it the board, or would it be the
For
building
purposes of-
inspector?
That, yes.
There was a landscape peer reviewer on Prentice Place that helped out the board with what vegetation should come down at the beginning of construction, and I believe was conditioned at the end as well. I'm not so sure about that. But it was,
Then there were changes at the end based on large trees or something that was supposed to be there that wasn't, that we allowed a change to swap out for different species or something.
The whole thing's still open though. I mean, there's supposed to be landscaping all on the back of that hasn't been finished. That's still an open issue.
That's correct, Bill. To the best of my knowledge, I know I haven't been involved with like a final closeout on that project. But I do recall a peer reviewer on behalf of the board
There was, yeah.
early on, and it came to some conditions, and Brian, to your point, there was, I know I was contacted about, does it make sense to put certain, what would grow to be large trees in the middle of a drainage structure or where water would be flowing on a regular basis? I've never seen anything planted over there, so I don't know what became of it, but I was asked.
I honestly don't know where it stands.
So do you want to request a landscape plan review at some later stage, maybe after the work is done?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to,
In the field to ensure adequate screening, something along
right.
those lines.
Only in
when
this
would
area,
it,
because
when
we're
would it
talking-
be done? That's the question I have. Is,
When
I
it's
mean,
planted.
again, you've got the comprehensive permit plan set, you've got the approved plans which were collapsing into
This
the
would be part
building
of the
permit.
construction.
No, we're talking about after construction, like, we're talking.
Oh, we're talking about after
you-
construction,
Cause that's when you're gonna plant the trees, right?
right,
So
Right.
you come
Right.
back to us after you've done all the grading and built the garages, and then you come back to us with
Say, we're saving this tree, this tree, this tree,
a
this tree.
plan.
Take
And
a
frankly,
look
it's
at
just this area, I think, that we're concerned about, showing us where you wanna infill. Is
Yes,
that okay?
yeah.
and I think
So-
I asked you this question before, does the town have a tree ward?
Yes,
You do,
we do.
maybe that's the person.
We do have a tree
Well, a
warden.
tree warden is not a landscaper, he's,
Yeah, and this is a private, this is something that's
Yeah.
not.
He
right,
doesn't
the
deal with
town,
the
right?
private, he only deals the one on the town property. On
Got
the
it.
Public property.
Okay.
So what would be the timing of that? Dan? Like what would be the milestone to trigger that?
pre-occupancy permit, so we actually have a condition already that says that their landscaping has to be completed before, I think, the occupancy permit for the fifth building.
Yeah, I seem
So
to
that would
recall
be
Okay.
all coincidental.
Yeah.
But we have 7 minutes, do you wanna stop now and take
Yeah.
public comment?
Okay,
So is this one great?
so for the record, we stopped at item 27.
Yeah, subject to our condition.
Okay.
Let me dog ear that.
All right, so
Let's see. By the way, before I neglect to apologize, I apologize for being late. Thanks for the board's indulgence. Traffic was that? Yeah, you didn't wait anyway, so.
Sorry, Jason, we started with that.
I know you did. Hey,
They asked me if we wanted to wait, I said, don't worry about it.
I know where I am on the pecking order.
is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? It has to be very brief.
Sure, I'll go real quick.
Mark Potter, 14 Suzanne Terrace. So if I understand correctly, we're talking about like increasing the downgrade on Snow Road to the intersection at 122 and 140 from what's currently 10% to like 8%, or is that accurate?
No, we asked them to review a third option. They presented two options. We asked them to dig into a third potential option that we deemed that it wasn't going to be feasible. So Jeff probably knows off the top of his head what the grade will be at the end.
They're proposing a grade of 10% at the steepest in the intersection. And what we're striving to do is to try to decrease that grade to be no greater than what it is now, and it runs about 8 to 9% out there now.
Okay.
And with the information that was available a couple of months ago, it looked like there might have been merit to being able to achieve that. And what they recently submitted was that because of what we had for discussion earlier, the sidewalk along the south side, the east side doesn't allow them to do that unless they can lower that sidewalk.
Okay, I understand. My concern was stemming from like, there's no commercial motor vehicle restriction on Snow Road currently. So like, you could drive an 80,000 ton truck down there, and if you're gonna increase the grade, that's, with all those crossings and sidewalks, that doesn't seem too safe to me. The other thing I just wanted to point out on the snow removal thing, if you look at the common area, again, it's really more their problem than our problem, but it's ringed by parking spaces. So like, you're not gonna mount the curb, and usually during a snow event, people are parked in their spaces, so, and then per their landscape where they have trees designated to park, like, that's where you're gonna put the snow. Normally a lot that size, you're probably gonna do it with a loader and a broom and a skid steer and maybe another truck, so like, all the straight shots are where you're gonna put the snow. There's no place to put the snow or remove it from, and then you're gonna be abutting, the wetland area in the back, or Tim's property on the north side, on the Snow Road side, in those corners. It just becomes problematic.
Well, I think what makes us comfortable with that is the parking is plenty. So there should be additional spaces that will be able to absorb that. But if, as you said, it's their problem, to truck it off, as needed.
And then I was just disappointed in the sidewalk not going all the way up to the property, just like you guys are. Like, as far as like a community benefit, like, I walked down there to Stop and Shop, or even all the way down to Fitzy's and the ice cream place, and it's like, I'm not crossing the road twice.
I hear you. Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thanks. So we need to pick a further date.
Yep.
So I think it's how much time does the applicant need? Because I think that you were gonna, go through the document, man, I'm tired, I can't think of the word,
Redline it?
the conditions.
The conditions.
Yeah, you're gonna redline the conditions. You're gonna set up a meeting with me.
Yes.
Like next week or something, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how much time is needed?
To wrap this up, and then for point of clarification, am I I'm gonna make the changes to the, waiver requests on a rolling basis?
Yeah, the ones we talked about tonight, you can
Yeah.
redline
Yep.
that. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so just to let you know, Peter is gone from the 20th. He does not, he gets back, he will be back on the 3rd. He will be back in town on the 3rd of
June 3rd.
So you're back on the 2nd, but you'd be available for a meeting on the 3rd. All right.
Yep.
So Peter is unavailable from the 20th to the 2nd.
That gives us a week.
So, I mean, we have a meeting scheduled next Wednesday, which is to vote, to sign the decision from last week. So it's
So
either,
the 4th or the
it's either the,
14th?
yeah. It's either the 13th, which is next week, or the 3rd or 4th
I
of
can't-
June.
I can't do the 4th, but I can do the 3rd.
Graduation?
No.
Oh.
5th is the graduation.
Oh.
I can do the 3rd as well of June.
Is
Is that okay?
Alex and Bill's third?
Alex and Bill, are you guys okay on June 3rd?
Yes.
There's no way we can do this before Peter leaves? Is that too soon?
Well, the problem
Well,
is the
that
town
gives us
has,
a week.
the town has elections on the 19th.
I actually lied. I'm actually going to be in San Francisco on that day.
On the 3rd?
Yep, the 1st and the 4th.
Is remote an option, Alex?
I don't think so, only because I'm going to be behind and I'm going to be in meetings all day.
Yep.
That's 2 weeks.
Does that give you guys enough time?
So,
I mean, how much time do you, Jason?
so next week, the 13th, when we already have a meeting, right? We have a meeting on the 13th.
Correct.
Is that an option?
You're just marking this, you're gonna mark up the draft,
Correct.
right? That shouldn't take, you already took notes, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, that means you'd have to have it by Friday at the latest, and then we'd need to discuss it.
I'd have to have something?
I'd have to give it to you by Friday, right?
Okay.
Which is,
Or Monday. I mean, if you and I can talk Monday or Tuesday
mm-hmm,
and try to narrow some issues, that's all they're asking us to do.
right.
Is that enough
Right.
time to?
Because you have a meeting on the
We don't have to
13th.
publish anything. We're just continuing.
No, but does that give if you have another matter scheduled,
That
that
matter
night.
should literally, it's a housekeeping, it's
it is,
it's a
okay,
decision that's being written, they're gonna vote on and be done.
Got
They
it.
already
Well-
approved it, so it's just getting the decision from the
Got it.
attorney.
got it.
I can do the 13th.
Everyone else available the 13th? I know all my
We're
board
already
is.
here already.
Well, yeah, we're already here. I know my board is, I meant everybody else.
Yes.
So we are all available?
Yes.
It'd be better to get
I'll
some.
probably be remote again, but that doesn't matter.
All right, so is there a motion to continue case number
9:10.
910 to May 13th at 7 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
Did we ask the applicant?
What?
You guys are free that night, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Either, okay, you second?
Ms. Reed, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Votes yes. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
The address here,
Yes.
Chairman votes yes.
All right, everyone.
We're adjourned. Thank you, Bill.
Safe
Thanks,
travels,
Bill.
guys.
Safe travel.
Have a good flight.
Yeah.